George H.W. Bush devoted his life to serving a higher purpose and inspiring others to do the same. He also proved character matters.
He really felt deep in his heart that every problem in America could be fixed, not necessarily by the government, but by us, by the people.
And I'm Rabbi Sam Bregman. I've got the final word on the Fox News Rundown.
The justices on the Supreme Court know the stakes of a decision they will soon make on criminal immunity for former presidents.
We're writing a rule for the ages.
That was Justice Neil Gorsuch as he questioned Justice Department lawyer Michael Dreeben about risk of prosecuting presidents, concerns shared by Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
It's going to cycle back and be used against the current president or the next president and the next president and the next president after that.
Then again, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson feared if presidents can't ever be held to a criminal trial.
If the potential for criminal liability is taken off the table, wouldn't there be a significant risk that future presidents would be emboldened to commit crimes with abandon?
So clearly, the questions concern far more than just the facts in front of the justices. The facts relate to one of 4 criminal trials former President Trump faces. His attorneys want the indictment alleging election interference and attempts to overturn the 2020 election tossed. Attorney John Sauer, in a back and forth with Justice Elena Kagan, argued much of what led prosecutors to seek an indictment fall within the official duties of the office of the presidency.
The defendant asked the Arizona House Speaker to call the legislature into session to hold a hearing based on their claims of election fraud.
Absolutely an official act for the president to communicate with state officials on a matter of enormous federal interest and concern, attempting to defend the integrity of a federal election, to communicate with state officials and urge them to view what he views as their job.
Listening to the full 2 hours of questions from the justices, it appears a split decision of sorts could be in the works, blocking immunity claims for some counts and asking lower courts to reconsider others. Again, with an eye to not just the here and now, but the way courts will understand the power of the presidency for long after November's election.
You had Justice Alito who said, listen, after every contentious election, is there going to be a scenario in which the loser has to then worry about the fact that their opponent who won, if they are vindictive, will come after them?
Fox News Sunday and Living the Bream podcast host Shannon Bream was in the court for the landmark arguments.
Potentially, prosecuting them for crimes, trying to put them in jail. You had Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson on the other side of this saying, hey, listen, I'm worried about what happens if we give sweeping immunity to criminal charges and somebody takes office knowing there's no way they can possibly be held responsible for what they do as president. There's also the question of pardoning. That's an undecided question. Could a president pardon themselves in the last couple of days of office, looking ahead, possibly anticipating potential criminal charges after they're out of the White House?
Let me talk about that because that came up and I was surprised because one, it was not part of this case. And two, you and I have talked about how the Roberts Court tries not to answer questions it's not asked to right. answer. They have not been asked to weigh in on whether or not a self-pardon is constitutional. But I don't remember. Was it Justice Gorsuch who kind of acknowledged, we need to know the answer to that?
He did, and Justice Alito as well said to the DOJ or to the special counsel's Michael Dreeben arguing the case, saying, "What's the answer to that question?" So I doubt they'll get to it, but it was interesting that it did come up here because it really is connected to the case in many ways, though it's not part of this particular legal dispute. It's not a question the court has answered, just like this question of presidential criminal immunity. So we got a little discussion of it. I think no resolution, but that seems to be a question for another day.
I understood the question, though, because it was sort of asked in the context of if the president has the right to self-pardon, then why would you need any sort of immunity? Right? I mean, that's the thought, right? If the president can just be like, I'm
whatever
clear.
Potentially comes. Exactly.
Yeah.
I now absolve myself of all potential future federal charges. I mean, you can see these scenarios. And while maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years, they would have sort of laughed about these scenarios, we know that the political world has changed so much over the last couple of elections. Yeah. And you really do have to consider where these things may go. And I think that several of the justices, as you said, really felt the weight of that. Like, they were not just deciding what's in front of us. The fact is, what we're deciding could last for generations and generations of presidents and administrations to come.
Let's talk a little bit about the arguments, because there was, I would say, more than half of the discussion kind of focused on this idea of what's an official act of a president and what's kind of a personal or a campaign act of a president, and are those treated the same as it relates to immunity? Are they treated differently? And I was surprised that Attorney Sauer for former President Trump kind of conceded that some of these counts are related to campaigning or unofficial acts. Doesn't that kind of torpedo the case if they're trying to find a distinction?
Well, yeah, so I thought that too when he seemed to pretty readily or easily say, oh yeah, some of these probably are private acts versus official acts, which would mean they would be treated differently in this case. The only thing I can think there is that he probably knows at some point they would have to concede that. And if there is something now that this court says, all right, we got to send this back to one of the lower courts to decide what's official, what's private, what's personal, that further delays the case, as you and I know, by months and potentially past the election, the actual case on the merits. But I was surprised that he so quickly said, yes, we agree that some of this is personal, some of it is official. Who gets to make that decision? And does this court set the parameters, the borders, the boundaries for that, the criteria for that, and then say, okay, lower court, we've now given you the criteria. Now pick through each of these. I think it was Justice Barrett who said, we know that the special counsel is in a hurry on this case and wants to get it done. With that in mind, would the special counsel's office be willing to separate the public and private so you could speed up the case and just go with what everybody agrees?
You could just move forward and be like, okay, we agree that all of these actions, all of these counts are unrelated to the official.
10, right.
Yeah. Then let's just go forward on those.
Right. For special counsel was saying, no, we feel these are all interconnected. We want to present the full picture to the jury with all of these different threads that are woven together in this case. So he seemed to suggest they're not down for that, but she did try to probe whether that's a possibility special counsel would consider.
We don't know how narrow or broad this opinion ultimately will be, but it does seem that they created some space in this discussion we just had to kind of narrowly tailor this, right? To kind of say, you know, there is a immunity, if it maybe fits into a certain criteria, and then remand the case, send the case back to the district court or the circuit court to kind of decide whether or not any of these counts fit into the criteria that the Supreme Court has now set? Or do you think they are maybe a little bit more definitive?
That's such a good question. I feel like, you know, you had, we often will tell people that we think the court is sort of a 3-3-3 situation right now.
Yeah.
With three firmly on the left, three firmly on the right, and three that are constantly in play. And I would argue sometimes Justice Gorsuch is in that swing group as well. But we think Justices Kavanaugh, Roberts, and Barrett will be the ones that may be in flux here, at least from what we can tell at this point. But it was interesting to see how hard Justice Kavanaugh pushed on the contours of executive power. Clearly, he's somebody who served in the executive branch and has connection to that, and seemed to be very probative on where you draw the line on these things. And of course, a number of real life cases came up about LBJ. If it was found that he had lied about what happened in Vietnam, could he have been prosecuted for that? What about drone strikes, ordered overseas by President Obama that impacted American citizens? So there are all kinds of scenarios. And I think, again, they're wrestling with not just the Trump case, but how this works for every president going forward.
And I think trying to find any sort of precedent or clues, right? Like the question was asked, if presidents believed that they had some sort of immunity against criminal charges, why would President Ford have needed to pardon his predecessor, President Nixon, right?
Yeah,
and
because
does that provide any clues to kind of how the founders or how presidents have kind of viewed the office, right? Is that what the justices are trying to figure out?
Well, and think about too, very early on, there were a number of the justices who said people have been able to function as president under the scenario as we now understand it. We do get a lot of talk from President Trump on social media and other places where he says if there's not absolute immunity for presidents, they can't function. They can't make these very bold, difficult decisions that are the hardest things that presidents do. And I think it was Justice Jackson, but I can't remember. I'd have to look at my notes. But I think there's a lot of probing of how has the presidency worked to this point? Because we've been operating under this, Justice Sotomayor, because there have been questions about, well, haven't judges or haven't presidents to this point operated under the belief like, hey, if I do something criminal, I'm probably going to face criminal prosecution once I leave the White House. So it seemed to be getting at that argument that President Trump has made that you can't function as president if you don't have this protection, where a number of the justices said, well, it's worked for, a couple centuries. That's another question. It wasn't probed real deeply in this case, but it's one that I was sort of asking myself is what the former president's attorneys are asking for, setting a new understanding of the Constitution. In other words, sort of creating, I guess some would say, kind of a new protection. Or are they asking the Supreme Court to enforce existing protections in the Constitution? In other words, is there presidential immunity? Well, it's not spelled out. And Justice Kagan brought that up and said, listen, there's a reason the founders did not, when there were other measures that were coming together that did try to provide immunity to different public officials, they did not give one to the president explicitly in the Constitution. She said, they were reacting to a monarch who claimed to be above the law. And the whole point was that this president was not going to be a monarch, not going to be a king, not going to be above the law. So her argument was that there isn't one within the Constitution that gives blanket protection to the president. So it feels like the argument is from the Trump legal team is for something new to establish this line in the sand saying, okay, there's absolute protection against criminal activity or criminal, charges for a president during his time for official acts. Because again, you and I believe it conceded that point on private acts. Yeah. And listen, I usually listen to these questions with sort of an ear to if I can get a hint as to how justices are kind of coming. It was hard to do. Justices from all sides were kind of coming at this in a lot of different directions. I didn't have a lot of tea leaves I was able to pull out. I'm curious what tea leaves maybe you read. Yeah, I mean, I agree as well because they seem to have tough questions for both sides. Multiple justices did weighing in, really pushing either extreme, because it did feel like the two teams were giving us extremes. Like President Trump's team is saying sweeping complete absolute immunity for anything done in office against criminal charges. And it really felt like special counsel was saying there is no protection for the charges that we've brought. And you heard the chief there referring to the district court, or excuse me, the DC Circuit Court, the appellate level just below this. In essence, that part of their argument was we can prosecute because he's being prosecuted. Like the charges have been brought, so that makes the case kind of thing. So I think that the justices will try to find somewhere in between those pendulums to the two sides. But I think that's the whole $64,000 question. Do they decide, okay, there are protections to a certain extent, but only for specific acts? And do they then give a roadmap and say to the lower court, here's the roadmap. You decide of all these acts alleged in the indictment, which ones fall under the official category, which can then be tried as part of this indictment. And could also be appealed, and the Supreme Court would have to review it again, right? Right. I mean, this thing could go on for ages if President Trump is reelected. I think we know that a lot of this goes away. I mean, he can't get rid of the state cases, but he can do a lot to get rid of the federal cases. Shannon Bream, always appreciate our chats. Glad you could find some time for us. Thank you very much. Well, it's fun to be with you at court, Jared. Thank you.
This is News Talk STL on 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
If spring allergies keep you trapped inside, then you need Navage Nasal Care to keep you breathing clearly and enjoying all the beauties of spring. Navage helps clear nasal passages that are often clogged because of seasonal allergies. Navage gently flushes a pure, refreshing saline solution through your nasal passages to clear out congestion, sucking out that springtime pollen and other irritants trapped in your nose. Navage is available online at Navage.com or in stores at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Target. Navage, Navage.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students.
Columbo and Katie.
A new poll shows who Americans hold responsible for the crisis at the border. We'll discuss this on Friday with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams and get the weekend weather forecast with Steve Templeton.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Congratulations to the awesome team at Connor Roofing for earning the 2024 National Best of the Best Award for Customer Satisfaction. Connor Roofing has now won back-to-back honors because they do outstanding work in all types of roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. We chose Connor Roofing without telling the owners, Rob and Kathy Connor. Their customer reviews are some of the best in the country. Please read them. Visit ConnorRoofing.com and request an estimate. Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor.
Caring for a loved one is stressful. It's an emotional time, and we want our loved ones to get the quality of care they deserve. But the cost of long-term care is expensive. In the St. Louis area, it could be $60,000, $70,000, or even over $100,000. Can your savings handle this added expense? Fortunately, News Talk STL listeners have an expert right here. Financial strategist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management shows families tax-efficient strategies to fund care needs. Whether planning in advance, have health concerns, or living in a care community today, solutions exist to fund the quality of care you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Visit SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Alphi LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Because truth matters.
Let's speak that truth.
Because understanding matters.
Let's break this down.
With all that's happening.
And it's happening a lot faster.
What matters most is...
the only question that matters here.
Are you informed?
Important issues that are facing this country.
Depend on us.
The latest events.
The information you need.
Here are the facts.
When you need it.
We always have great conversations.
You guys have a great radio station.
101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
Or is this the makings of the wildest ride you'll ever witness? It's all of the above, and it's about to go down.
Yeah! Let's go! Woo!
The Worth 400 from Dover. Coverage begins Sunday at 1 Eastern on FS1.
A contrast of perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is the Fox News Rundown. More coming up.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define.
Join me every Sunday at 10 p.m. right here on News Talk STL.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL, Haunted Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right, it's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. On this Friday in the summer of 2016, I was grilling some burgers in the backyard when the cell phone rang. It was then candidate for President Donald Trump calling to shoot the political breeze. This was not unusual, as I've known Mr. Trump for 3 decades, and we occasionally chat about all kinds of things, most of which I keep confidential, even the stuff about how the Mets can never quite get it together. On that call in 2016, Trump was venting about the press, which had recently turned against him with a ferocity that was disturbing. At first, CNN and others couldn't get enough of candidate Trump because he brought high ratings, so they kissed his behind. But that quickly changed when he bested the Republican primary field. As the candidate took a breath on the other end of the phone, I said, let's do this on the air tomorrow. I'll give you 8 minutes of factor time. Trump said he was otherwise engaged, but his lawyer, Michael Cohen, was available. No, I said. Why? Trump countered. Because he's a weasel and we are not a pet emporium. Donald Trump went silent. I then wrapped it up by positing something like, you better not trust this guy. Yes, I'm somewhat of a sage, but that wasn't even a hard call. Back after this. You can now watch new episodes of the No Spin News live on Samsung TV Plus. Tune in each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV for breaking news, honest analysis, and the best election coverage in America. Please join me, Bill O'Reilly, at the First TV, now available on Samsung TV Plus. Start watching today on your Samsung television, Galaxy devices, or the Samsung TV Plus mobile app. Check out the No Spin News each weeknight at 8 p.m. on the First TV, Samsung TV Plus. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid 70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Number one for live and local
conservative talk.
They always have great conversations.
News, analysis, and opinion.
It's a big case for the prosecution.
Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
On a legal expense, I got indicted for that.
Is how to chant death to America.
They exist, they feel empowered, they feel emboldened because of the way Joe Biden has handled this situation.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
The next few days, I mean literally the next 72 hours or so, are crucial to protecting life in Missouri. That's not hyperbole. This is really important. A little bit later on, we're going to explain why that's the case and why the next few days are so crucial. Hey, happy Friday. I'm Mike Ferguson. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. We talked a lot about education yesterday. If you haven't already heard the conversations, check out our podcast, newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to our podcast, and you can hear on demand our conversations with Daryl Jones from the Herzog Foundation and also Carolyn Moore. But I'm gonna have that one for you right now. We talk a lot about the indoctrination and the bias in public education, and that gets us, frankly, left-leaning voters. But when you look at what's happening on college and university campuses around the country right now, including probably this weekend here in St. Louis at WashU, you've got young people who not just hate America, but they hate Israel, they're anti-Semitic, and they have been somehow indoctrinated to think that this is normal and this is acceptable or this is even good. How does that happen? Well, it could be from pro-Islamic curriculum that's being snuck into their education. And the group Parents Defending Education has found specific cases of that. And Carolyn Moore from Parents Defending Education was on yesterday's program explaining to us what they found and why it matters, and more importantly, what you can do to watch for it in our area. Here's what she had to say. He who controls the schools controls the next generation. We've talked about that a little bit earlier today. So who's writing and operating the levers of control in the curriculum of your K through 12 education? And could that have something to do with what we're seeing on the university campuses today, the anti-Semitism? Literally, we have seen people stand in front of Jewish people saying, you can't go in here because you're Jewish.
Yeah, shame on you for existing.
I mean, so where does that come from? That comes from somewhere. Could that be baked into the secret sauce of the left's control of the K through 12 schools? Maybe not.
I mentioned a little earlier, Mike, that I saw some photos yesterday from the University of Vienna in Europe, and
44, no, it's actually earlier.
It was 1933.
33,
believe it or not.
That's right.
And they were lined
Weimar
up in front of
Republic.
the doors, keeping the Jewish kids out of the buildings.
That wasn't under the Nazis. That was the Weimar Republic.
Yeah, so we've got a situation of if we're in danger of history repeating itself, how on earth did we get there, and how do we have the mushy brains that would go along with it? Well, let's go back to their younger years in school. We might find the answer. It is 7:39 right now. I'm Mike. Got Gabe here, got Stell here. Now joined by Carolyn Moore from Parents Defending Education. Carolyn, and that's a pretty I guess but some would say a hyperbolic way to set up the discussion. But there's some new reporting and some new research that says there might be a pro-Muslim entity that's sort of infiltrated how some of this curriculum is being framed to our young people. Sounds an awful lot like a big conspiracy theory, but what was actually found?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of found all over the country, there are states that are baking things into the curriculum that talk about, a different type of history, not necessarily, American history, but the way that the curriculum is taught, it's taught as though like oppressor versus oppressed, which I'm sure you guys have heard of. Our most recent finding is in Perth Amboy High School in New Jersey. And we found that there are these nonprofit entities that surround most schools, and somehow they've gotten their way into curriculum. My personal opinion is because I don't think that there is curriculum being pushed from the conservative side. I think that there's really just these leftist groups seem to be pushing curriculum on school districts, and they say, oh, well, we don't have any other option. Might as well. How bad could it be? But what we found is that this group is actually, the psychology teacher is actually the founder of the group. It's called Teaching While Muslim. And the program focuses on teaching students implicit bias and accusing Israel of genocide, which is absolutely insane that is being taught in public schools in the United States. History can't be one-sided. I think that, you need to look at the entire situation. It was, different things happened at different periods in time. And yes, there have been ongoing wars in the Middle East, and especially Israel and Palestine. Everybody knows that that's controversial. Posing the entire question as, it's implicit bias and saying that Israel is responsible for genocide is just ludicrous. It's just not true.
And according to a National Review article, which is called Islamic Education Consulting Group Brainwashing Public School Students with Anti-Israel Propaganda, you can find that at nationalreview.com. That Teaching While Muslim is the organization that Carolyn's just mentioning. It's referred to an organization working to, and it's using quotes, so this is from Teaching While Muslim, actively includes social justice, anti-racist, anti-Islamophobic curricula and educators in our schools. And so that's the organization Carolyn is referring to.
Good morning, Carolyn. Gabe Pfeiffer here. And you mentioned the idea that maybe these teachers, because they don't have an alternative, or maybe partially they can use that as an excuse because they don't have an alternative curriculum, that they can just adopt these various new curriculums that show up. But I always think back to my school days, and I learned about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in a pretty even-handed way. What happens to the old curriculum? Why do they always have to change it over time?
That's a great question. They don't have to. I think that, these school districts are kind of, I don't know if it's, the administrators are pushing for these crazy curriculums, or if it's teachers. In this case, it happens to be, the teacher is the founder of this organization. One of the teachers is the founder of this organization. So obviously, you would assume in staff meetings, kind of like in their ear, saying like, oh, well, we could teach history this way and, talk about social justice as opposed to, I don't know, truth and fact. And I'm not saying that they're being taken for a ride. I agree with you. I went to public school my entire life, and I think that I had a very fair assessment of what was going on in the Middle East. We didn't learn anything like this, but it seems like activists have kind of hijacked either the school boards, or they've kind of captured superintendents in school districts and kind of talked them into, no, like you need to make up for, your white past or your colonizational past and teach things from the oppressor versus oppressed view. And I'm only saying that because that seems to be what's popping up across the country. This Teaching While Muslim group, while they focus on the implicit bias, they have resources for teachers, activists. They have lesson plans specifically on colonization. And what it is it's reteaching, the things that we learned growing up. So it's that, the Europeans came over and took over the United States, or, took over North America, and not showing, both sides of the historical story. And I think it's in an effort to kind of, I don't know, somehow right some, irrational wrong or something like that. That's the only thing that I can really understand for this. But like this organization, like I said, they have resources for teachers, activists, how to stage walkouts, how to do boycotts. If you're a teacher and you're teaching the social justice way or teaching the genocide of Palestinians, if you run into issues with your administrators, you're supposed to call your union rep. I mean, it gives you those kind of resources, as well as the lesson plans that are completely biased in what's being taught. And so it's kind of like an all-encompassing, it's curriculum, but it's all-encompassing. It even has like social media resources, what you should be posting on social media so that the kids in the class are really understanding what's going on. It's a hijacking of the system, definitely.
Good morning, Carolyn. Stal Pontique is here. So are the parents in these various school districts pushing back and saying we don't want this stuff in the classroom?
Yes, I think that they're just realizing that this is going on. We found out this material through open records requests. And so our goal is to get this information out. I think a lot of parents, they don't necessarily know what their kids are learning in class, especially this at the high school. And I think kids are kind of mum's the word. If it's not an issue, they're not going to bring it up. And so we hope by publicizing this, even more parents will get involved and push back, go to school board meetings, talk to principals, and really push back on this curriculum because there's no reason that this should exist in public schools.
We're visiting with Carolyn Moore from Parents Defending Education. We're going to give out the contact information for your all's group because I know you've got a lot of resources available as well. But it's not a big leap to connect everything you just described with the nonsense and even the violence that we're seeing on these college university campuses popping up over the past, just about the past week or so as well. I mean, this seems like the logical end of the pipeline that's beginning in the K through 12 public schools, because you found this in a few schools, but my guess is that's probably more widespread than what people realize.
Absolutely. I mean, and I know when we first opened up the conversation, talked about being maybe conspiratorial or something like that. Initially, I think people probably think that, but no, this is going on in red states and blue states, in urban areas and suburban areas. And I think people just aren't aware of it, that it's kind of, it's similar to like the DEI teaching. It used to maybe be in one subject, but now it's in math and science and history, and it's all interwoven. And so it's very similar to what's going on here. And I think what is, people are picking up on is like what's happening in college, but you wonder, gosh, are these, is it just one isolated case of, these college students, they're trying to rebel? But no, like what you said is these kids have been taught that this is, how you look at an issue like this. You can look at it through the lens of oppressor and oppressed, and you automatically know that, supposedly Israel is at fault, which is not the case. But if they're taught that from an early age and then they become adults, then what do we expect them to think? Of course, they think that that's correct because they learned it in school.
Let's let everybody know where they can find the resources that you all have to offer. And of course, following your blog is one of the areas that I find really helpful as well. So how do they get in touch?
Yeah, we have some great resources on our website, defendinged.org. And you can follow into all of our social media on there. And we have great toolkits for parents, the questions that you should be asking when you are meeting with principals and teachers and at school boards to try to hold the school district accountable, and also increase transparency for all parents and students in the district.
First morning news dump of the day comes your way here in just a couple of minutes right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dial off to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Seavers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. It's your choice to take 5 on one of these great offers. 0% financing for 5 years or up to $5,500 cash rebate and a 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details, but don't wait too long. These offers are for a limited time at Seavers JCB, and check out their full line of industry-leading JCB equipment. Check them out online at SeaversJCB.com.
Hey everybody, it's Rob Carter. Mike and Beverly Sloan are the visionary minds behind Living the Elite Life, a coaching program that extends their expertise to empower others in the realms of mindset, fitness, health, sobriety, and relationships. If you need just a little push to make your life a lot better, give them a call, 636-248-9799, or email beverlysloan1@gmail.com.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and SouthernArmory.com. That's SouthernArmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at SouthernArmory.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Wake up, America. It all worked out.
You know, I mean, they got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Happy Friday to y'all.
Hey, it's Flashback Friday.
That's right, Flashback Friday. I can't wait to see what got picked because a lot of people don't realize, Stell, that I don't know which songs you're putting in here.
You have no idea?
Nope. So it's as much of a surprise to me as it is to everybody else on this Flashback Friday.
Sometimes I have no idea. No, I know.
That's a whole other story. Okay, by the way, I'm going to put out the request right now. What's your hot take?
Hot take for the day?
Yeah, for anything. And I'm talking to everybody. So I'm going to watch the Rumble Boxers. Let us know, what is your hot take, popular or unpopular? I think in the 7 o'clock hour, because Gabe just texted us. Mm-hmm. He's on his way in. He goes, hey, check out this hot take, unpopular opinion. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure that's unpopular, but that's a hot take. So let's. I'm just curious what's on people's mind where it's like, you know what? If I can speak my mind, here's what I'd say, and I don't care what you think about it.
All right.
Yeah, let's do that.
That sounds fair.
All right. In the news here, one neighborhood's long nightmare is finally over as a homeless couple has been evicted from their camp that was set up on the street and the sidewalk.
Wow, this took way too long.
Way too long. I'll give you the details in just a moment here. And a Hollywood creep's conviction is overturned. We got a lot to say about that. And the Cards and the Battlehawks both on the road this weekend. All right, 5:51 right now. Okay, St. Louis City workers finally cleared out that homeless camp the 2 Sudanese immigrants set up at Chippewa in Spring and South City. So they finally got around to doing that Thursday. The couple had been living there for over 3 freaking years. 3 years.
They were there back when we lived in South City.
Yeah, the camp sprawled from the street corner onto the sidewalk. The smell went all over the place in that area, according to the local residents. The city says it's helping the couple with housing, although there's no word on where they went or, of course, who's actually paying for it.
Of course.
Yeah, jeez. You know what? I understand there's a lot of mental illness there, but after 3 years, yes, be angry at the city, but I've lost sympathy for the people who were well aware they were causing problems for others, mental illness or not.
Exactly. Yeah. They should have been calling their alder critter person weekly.
Yeah,
to try to get it taken care of.
I mean, they should have been a nuisance, like every single body. And of course, you see the quotes from people like, "Well, we're just worried about the people." I wouldn't be. No, be glad they're gone. All right. Other stuff here happening. Arguments taking place in Donald Trump's immunity claim case at the Supreme Court. That happened on Thursday. One of the former president's attorneys, that's, of course, Will Scharf, he's been on the show a number of times, was on Fox's The Story with Martha McCallum, and he says he thinks the arguments went well, and he thinks the court's going to eventually rule in Donald Trump's favor. Uh-oh. Let me try my plug-in here again.
Take two.
Let's try this again. The thing didn't... all right, let's try it again here. There it is.
It certainly seems that the Supreme Court wants to ensure that the system we end up with is a system that preserves presidential prerogatives, that preserves the ability of the president to respond decisively to the situations that arise during the course of a presidency.
Of course, depending on which pundit you're listening to, the courts were either very skeptical of Trump's lawyers' claims or they were clearly favoring him. Michael Dreeben was one of the attorneys for the special counsel in this case. Here's part of his arguments to the contrary.
The existing system is a carefully balanced framework. It protects the president, but not at the high constitutional cost of blanket criminal immunity. That has been the understanding of every president from the framing through Watergate and up to today.
And, of course, Trump's attorneys are arguing that he should have what they're calling absolute immunity for anything that happened while he was in office. It is unlikely that a decision is going to be rendered on this before a series of the other trials happen with Donald Trump. Okay, now in other court news here, and this one actually surprised me here because it has to do with Harvey Weinstein. And one of his convictions was overturned. And I remember that news kind of really surprised me. Ashley Judd, the actress, was speaking out at a press conference after a New York appeals court overturns the 2020 rape conviction of entertainment mogul Harvey Weinstein. Here's part of what she had to say.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal. And our institutions betray survivors of male sexual violence.
So here's what happened. The appeals court found that the judge in the Weinstein trial should not have allowed prosecutors to call on women to testify when their claims were not related to the specific charges he was facing. They had to do with other things. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison after being found guilty of a multitude of sex crimes. Now, he is going to stay in prison. He's not getting let out of prison because he was convicted in a separate rape conviction in Los Angeles where he's serving 16 years. And so in this case, the new trial's already been ordered, and some of the former witnesses may have to come and testify again because he will be prosecuted again. Unbelievable situation there. Okay, the Cardinals start a 3-game series with the Mets in New York today. Miles Michaelis will get the start for the Redbirds. First pitch is at 6:10, but you can only see the game if you have Apple Plus. It's one of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In other words, you're probably not going to see the game. And the UFL's highest scoring team, that would be the St. Louis Battlehawks. They are on the road this weekend. They play the D.C. Defenders in Washington. That's a Sunday morning game at 11 a.m. The Battlehawks are 3-1. They lead the XFL conference. The Defenders are 2-2. That game is on ESPN.
Looking forward to that.
Yep.
My sponsor, McGuire Moving, has job openings for drivers and movers, offering competitive pay. You can be off every night if you want or on the road. You're off every other weekend, full benefits, insurance, paid vacations. But McGuire is a very good company. So here's a very important requirement. You must excel in making customers happy. Full or part-time job? More information, go to McGuireMoving.com. Apply online at McGuireMoving.com/careers.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hey guys, Ken Kruger. I've gotten to know these guys really well over the last few years. Yes, St. Louis Bath and Renovation. They're the most trusted name in bathroom remodelers in the St. Louis area. In fact, if you need bathroom repairs, complete bathroom remodeling, or handyman services, call St. Louis Bath and Renovation at 314-477-6476 or email Rob at stlbr.com. That's St. Louis Bath and Renovation.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. The anti-Israel, anti-Semitic protests that have roiled so many college campuses continue to spread. And those demonstrations posing a fresh challenge for President Biden.
The president continues to resist calls to cut off U.S. support for Israel, which has angered liberal lawmakers and Arab Americans. The protests at Columbia University in New York and other campuses also raise questions about Mr. Biden's lagging support from young voters. The White House hopes the protests are a passing distraction, while some worry the protests could carry all the way to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago this summer. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Former President Trump's case for presidential immunity has been heard by the U.S. Supreme Court, and it appears, based on the oral arguments, the court may agree with the Trump legal team's contention that former presidents are entitled to immunity from certain prosecutions. TikTok preparing a legal challenge to a U.S. law that would force the social media platform to break ties with its China-based parent company or face a ban in the U.S.
U.S. media had been reporting that TikTok's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, was exploring options to sell the app without the algorithm that powers it. In response, ByteDance said, foreign media reports of ByteDance selling TikTok are not true. This makes a ban of the short video app in the U.S. all but likely.
And the BBC's Siranjaya Tiwari says it's estimated TikTok has close to 150 million users in the U.S. The reception could not have been more welcoming for former President Trump during yesterday's surprise visit to a Manhattan construction site. Chants of USA, USA rang out along with We Want Trump. Wall Street, the Dow futures are higher, up 44 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Worried about inflation, digital currencies, political turmoil, and the future of your investments? It's time to take control with Conservative Wealth Protection Group. During these times, central banks are buying gold and precious metals at record levels. But the question is, are you? With access to the cheapest bullion in the nation, we have a deep understanding of the precious metals markets. We'll reveal strategies that both the wealthy and everyday patriots just like you are using to get the most out of their tax-deferred retirement plans. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, we provide guidance without high-pressure sales tactics. Our No Fees for Life IRA program offers the lowest prices on precious metals, along with tax-free and penalty-free transfers. Explore your options with a free consultation. Call 888-985-9222. That's 888-985-9222. Protect your family and your investments. Call 888-985.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid 70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Hey, it's Katie, reminding you to subscribe to our show podcast so you never miss anything that happens here at News Talk STL. Get our podcasts every day on the show pages at newstalkstl.com, or just subscribe to your favorite shows on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin Rob.
It's Friday!
Well, you knew that it was coming, right? Complaints that pushing back against the anti-Semitic occupiers went too far.
Oh, noes.
I actually heard that in a radio news report yesterday when I was driving home. Yeah,
of course.
By the way, still ahead here. It might rain today. It actually rained a little bit a little bit ago, and that's a really good thing for one St. Louis neighborhood because part of their street really needs a bath right now.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, no, it's a good thing.
Okay.
Just took way too long.
Okay.
All right. It is 6:06. I'm Mike Ferguson. Got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. We were just, this is kind of a spur of the moment thing. And I mentioned it a little bit ago, Gabe.
Yeah.
You texted me that thing. You said, hey, found this unpopular opinion. And I went, is that really that unpopular?
Yeah.
We're just kind of talking. I said, you know what? I said, I actually got a hot take on a couple things.
Yeah.
I know that you do.
I do.
So
I have a list.
Yeah. So right around 7:20. What are the hot takes that you have? You can send them to us on social media, or we'll just open up the phone here at 314-912-1019. What is your hot take? I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a funny hot take. I don't care if it's a sports hot take. I don't care if it's on the news. I don't care if it's leftist or on the right or whatever. I don't care. I'm just kind of curious. It's Friday. What the heck?
Yeah, why not?
Basically.
And by hot take, I think for everybody to understand, it's basically when you're in your group of friends and you say something and everybody kind of, they raise their eyebrows just a little bit. They may totally agree with you, but they're like, oh, he said it. Yes, that's a hot take. That's what counts.
We're connecting with Paul Curtman here, pundit extraordinaire, in just a moment here. By the way, speaking of news, kind of towards Flashback Friday here today, a little bit of music news that just popped out. You ever like the Moody Blues?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Co-founder, keyboardist of the Moody Blues, Mike Pinder, he has died.
Oh, man.
He was 82 years old.
It feels like
Pinder.
Yeah, Pinder.
It feels like we're losing major musical types like monthly these days.
It's easy to say, well, they're at that age, but I'm hesitate to say that because that means, well, we're
at that age. Yeah, it's like I don't like the sound of that, buddy.
I saw a video of Lou Gramm yesterday in concert from a couple months ago, and it's like, ooh, he doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But that's just where he is in life.
Yeah, you got guys like Phil Collins who
he
don't look good at all.
Oh no, his health is terrible. All right, joined now by Paul Curtman. This week, let's do some review of the news here, Paul, our official Florida correspondent here. Let me start with the anti-Israeli, the pro-Hamas protest, and all these Occupy events, because Occupy is back in style now, Paul. And I knew it was going to happen. Complaints now that Governor Greg Abbott in Texas sent in law enforcement to keep order and not allow the children to run the asylum and occupy stuff that's not theirs. You knew the complaints were coming, and now you've already got media shifting like, well, are these tactics heavy-handed? Never mind that the anti-Semites' tactics are unbelievably heavy-handed, but we're seeing a difference in the responses from a place like Texas as opposed to some place like New York.
Yeah, good morning, guys. And you know what? We've seen this before. We've seen this recently just over the last few years. The Occupy movements are probably some of the most destructive movements to any state, any community. They hurt the GDP of the local area. They run people out of town. We've seen some of the worst elements of this. You remember the CHOP?
Oh, yeah.
The autonomous zones, right? And those areas are still reeling from the effects of these Occupy movements. Now, those were some of the most extreme examples of this, but it just goes to show that when you don't have law and order, the community completely degrades, people lose their rights, and money flees those areas. So for Governor Abbott to send the police in to make sure that there is order, listen, nobody's stopping people from protesting, but they are stopping people from becoming a barrier to the freedom and the economic freedom of the people in those areas. And that is exactly what we want the police to be able to do. That's exactly what we want our government leaders to do, is help keep order in a manner that protects our freedom. And all Governor Abbott really has to do is just point to these other areas around the country to say, hey, this was allowed to be carried on by Democrat leaders in other states. And some of these places have still not recovered from some of these movements. And so he's doing the right thing. And listen, for some of us libertarian-leaning folks, we like the government to stay out of everything. We do want the police to be reined in and supervised and trained very well. But this is exactly what the government should be doing, is using law enforcement to keep law and order.
Hey, Paul, speaking of money flowing, what do you make of the identical tents that seem to be popping up? Looking brand new, straight out of the bag, same color, same configuration, same size, and they seem to be popping up all over the country, particularly on these college campuses. It seems to me somebody is bankrolling and organizing these things.
And somebody got a bulk discount.
Yeah, exactly. They're putting that Costco card to work.
Yeah. There's some sales reps from North Face out there who are doing really well here recently. Hey, you know what? You bring up a good point, and I don't know why. For all the journalists that like to, they always think that they're breaking the latest news, right? You have these journalists that want to break the latest story on some politician or some influential person and bring them down, and they think that that's going to throw them right into the running to be the next anchor of 60 Minutes, right? Well, I can't think of something more interesting to find out than who it is that's paying for these tents. And this reminds me a lot of these piles of bricks that suddenly started showing up on streets back during the Ferguson riots or the Black Lives Matter movement, whenever they were going through places like Chicago and New York. And what happened there? Then we also saw that in those same areas where those bricks are getting dropped off, lots of damage, lots of destruction, and lo and behold, another autonomous zone pops up. So somebody needs to really get to the bottom of this, find out where these things are coming from. That would be a great story for somebody to break. Maybe some internet sleuths. We could run down a lot of different rabbit holes with this, but when you see these types of things happening, when you see that, hey, suddenly these people over here they have been outfitted exactly like these other people over here, you can connect the dots. Somebody put those dots out there for us, and these are just dots that need to be connected. Really interesting, very suspicious.
Hey, good morning, Paul. Stell here. There were a bunch of economic indicators that came out yesterday, and the financial markets reacted in a big downturn kind of way. Any thoughts from you, since you are a financial guy, any thoughts from you about the situation? Well,
I've said on your show before, guys, don't trust the numbers. So we get labor data, we get inflation data. Burnout in the market's a very real thing. You can have the markets that are turning down. There's no good news at all. And then all of a sudden a little rally comes out of nowhere. Sometimes people just get burnt out, and it's time to just start investing again. So we've had some economic data come out. Inflation's a little bit higher than we expected. Jobs numbers haven't been exactly what we've expected. The GDP, we were expecting to have a little bit stronger GDP numbers, and then those numbers that came out showed us that our economy is just a little bit weaker than we suspected. This might encourage a lot of people to completely pull their money out of the markets and run for the hills. I wouldn't do that. What I would do is just reassess what you have your money in, how your money is allocated. Because, listen, as long as people are still going to Walmart and buying food that's on the shelves there, well, that tells us that there's still a market, right? So don't just immediately take everything and run, but definitely reassess and make sure that you have your investments or you're spending your money in a way that's appropriate for the times that we're living in. There's still lots of fortunes to be made out there, even when the markets are bad. But going back to your question, Stell, don't trust the numbers. Don't trust the numbers. Follow your gut, listen to some of the data, and then just plan accordingly and plan in a way that's, you're comfortable with.
Paul, just got a couple minutes here, but the president yesterday saying, well, here's what he wants to do tax-wise and what he wants to do with the economy, and it's basically, if you're more successful, you're going to pay your fair share. That keeps coming back, up to a 40% tax on what they call high-income earners, $1 million a year or more, but in some parts of the country, $1 million is good, but it's not what it is in other parts of the country. So it's essentially tax and spend on steroids, more big government, more spending, more taxes on people that are easy to demonize on the campaign trail. Assess the economic competency of that, if you will.
It's economic incompetency is what it is. And I don't know what could be more clearer than in a country like America where you have 50 states. Each state has their own tax policy, income tax, sales tax, all kinds of different taxes and fees. And all you have to do to understand which type of tax policy is best for an economy, is best for job creators, best for income earners, is you just have to look for which state the tax policy cooperates with people that are out producing. And so what I mean by that is this. In the state of Missouri, for example, we tax everything. We tax your income. We tax your sales. If you live in St. Louis, you pay state income tax and you pay an income tax just for the city of St. Louis. And so what does that mean? It means that in the city of St. Louis, it becomes more expensive to live and to work. And so what has happened over the last 50, 60, 70 years, people have begun to move out of St. Louis City because it's too expensive to live there. It's too expensive to work there. And they start moving into West County. They start moving into rural areas. Why? Because it's cheaper to live. It's cheaper to work. You get to keep more of your own money in your pocket. And that's just in St. Louis City and, say, St. Louis County or Franklin or Jefferson or St. Charles County. You extrapolate that same principle across the whole country, People will move out of Illinois. People will move out of California. People will move out of New York if the taxes are too high. And what have we been seeing over the last several years? We've seen people move out of New York. Donald Trump moves to Florida because it's cheaper to live there. He's able to keep more of his own money, and it's not just for billionaires. It's really important for people that are living paycheck to paycheck. They need to keep more of their own money too. And so it's not just the wealthy people that are leaving these high-income states. It's other people that just want to keep more money in their own pocket. When it becomes too expensive to shop at Target, well, then you might go to Walmart. It's the exact same principle. So for President Biden to be taking this role of we need to tax more, people need to pay their fair share, they need to take a completely reevaluate the way money walks from state to state to state, how it walks from county to county, and understand that high taxes is the death knell of any civilization, if you want to take it that far, and I really do.
Hey, Paul, a quick question for you. We had that disastrous Title IX stuff come down from the Biden administration, but your governor is pushing back.
Oh, here's what he actually said, though, directly from the horse's mouth.
Florida rejects Joe Biden's attempt to rewrite Title IX. We will not comply, and we will fight back. We are not going to let Joe Biden try to inject men into women's activities. We are not going to let Joe Biden undermine the rights of parents, and we are not going to let Joe Biden abuse his constitutional authority to try to impose these policies on us here in Florida. We stand with opportunities. We are not going to let Biden get away with it. We will not comply.
I just get warm fuzzies when I hear people say, I will not comply. My libertarianism is getting meaner and meaner. I just love that. That's the side note there, Paul.
No, I feel the same way, Mike. And Governor DeSantis is doing exactly what governors should be doing. And people need to understand, listen, we used to live in a country where the federal government would say, we'd have people in Washington, D.C., and they'd be writing laws, and they would say something like, well, we want to do this, but we don't know if we can. We don't know if the states will let us do it. But things are turned completely upside down on their heads now. And now we have state governors and state legislators who cave to the pressure of the federal government, and before they write any laws, they say, well, we don't know if we can do this because we don't know if the federal government will let us. That's not how this is supposed to work. The states are supposed to push back against the intrusiveness of the federal government. The federal government should not be able to do anything without fear that the states would actually not let them do it. And so for Governor DeSantis to say, I will not comply, it gives me chills, because that's exactly the way that it should be. Governors are the executives of their state. They should be pushing back against the intrusiveness of the federal government. And I hope we see a lot more states join in this, because he's absolutely right. This is a matter of parental authority. This is a matter of making sure that our children are protected, and that family values are being protected, and truth is being upheld. Boys are boys, girls are girls. You can call yourself whatever you want, but you can't use the states to force other people to comply. And so I'm glad that Governor DeSantis is taking this very bold stance.
I agree completely. All right, Paul Curtman, appreciate you being on. The website, once again, people want to get in touch or follow what you're doing, is what?
Yeah, if people want to follow me, they can go to prcurtman.com. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, Paul Curtman.
All right, sounds good. It's good. We'll talk to you again soon, Paul. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, just ahead, it took over 3 years, but one St. Louis neighborhood finally getting cleaned up. Good thing there's some storms that might move through, because the neighborhood needs a bath. I'll tell you about that right around 6:23 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
You have a soul sewn down, it is no more.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9 94.1 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
If you just recently inherited a property and you're not sure what to do with it, maybe it needs a lot of work, but you need to get it sold, reach out today. 314-417-1000. 417-1000. My name's Chad Clayman with Clayman Real Estate, where we've been buying houses directly from the seller with no middleman involved for over 90 years. We're a family business, and we help simplify the sale for folks that don't want to list the house on the market and have to deal with the entire sales process. And we specialize with people that just recently inherited a house. We're very familiar with the probate process, so if that is you, please reach out and we can simplify your sale today. 314-417-1000. 314-417-1000. And we've been doing it for over 90 years. So if you have a house that you'd like to sell, whether you inherited it or it needs work, please reach out as we can make you a simple, fair cash offer. 314-417-1000. 314-417-1000.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point. They say the mind works in mysterious ways, and mine is no exception, particularly this past week as I've been dealing with the after effects of a mild concussion. Whatever the reasons for it, the recent news that Anthony Fauci is now set to testify before Congress in June, along with the Biden campaign's attempts to throw shade at former President Trump for things he didn't say about potential COVID therapeutics, and the fact that reported COVID cases have basically fallen off the map, got me to thinking about that quaint notion of herd immunity. Are we there yet? That, in turn, got me to thinking about another sort of immunity, namely that of the presidential variety, an issue argued before and heard by the Supreme Court on Thursday. I listened in on that and did my best to suss out where each of the justices seemed to be leaning on the issue and what my gut tells me they'll ultimately do with the decision. I do have a theory, though only a theory. But I also wonder if the American populace has developed sufficient immunity to the mind games the powers that be in our government and media seem intent on playing, such that we're still able to exert our will in a meaningful way at the ballot box. I do hope so.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Welcome to Flashback Friday.
Thank you to everybody who's sent in a request. I just got one sent in a little bit ago, which we can maybe put in for next week.
Hopefully so. Keep them coming. You can send an email to me or to Mike.
Yeah, or
I'll pass them on.
Let us know on social media here as well. That's how you get bump music like this. All right, 6:25. I went through 3 hours of sleep again last night. I'm just a
little loopy.
But my team won.
Yay!
Okay,
there we go. Worth it.
And if folks are wondering what this is, On the Dark Side.
Yeah.
From John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Okay, it only took a few years, but a St. Louis neighborhood is going to start smelling better now. Okay. Crazy people have been removed from their street and the sidewalk.
Oh, is this that spot where they had set up a basically a shanty at the corner?
Right.
You know, just right over the sewer grate.
Yeah.
I guess, which is where what they use as a toilet.
Pretty much, yeah. And it was on the street. It was on the easement. It was up on the sidewalk. It just kept, it was shopping carts that they took from places and tarps that they were able to grab from wherever. 3 years. 3 years. By the way, still ahead here. And I may... let's see here. I'm going to make somebody mad. I don't know. Did you see the headlines like from Fox News and some of the others? Major League Baseball makes a pitcher change gloves because it had an American flag on it. They did, but that's not the whole story.
Okay.
That's not the context.
It's one of those, this is a coincidental thing that we want to make a big deal about.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay. So the media on our side kind of doing what the left does a little bit.
I don't
so
like that.
I'm going to call that out at 6:35, okay?
Okay.
All right.
We got to be fair.
So the sidewalk squatters finally gone from their street, tent, shanty, encampment, whatever you want to call it. 3 years. 3 years.
That is wild.
It's crazy.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
3 years. And the city basically is like, well, there's these crazy immigrants. They happen to be from Sudan, and we just can't do anything about them. Yeah, you could.
Easily.
So they finally showed up yesterday with like this team of social workers and police and interpreters. And, got them to come out after a while to come out from under. And I'm thinking, if you've got a team of all these people, just tear the thing down.
Yeah.
And then, run them off.
Yes, seriously. That's what you're
really.
supposed to do.
So they're saying that the city is helping them with housing. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where they are. I don't know who's paying for it. But St. Louis taxpayers, you're probably providing somebody a free place to stay, somebody who was not functioning. And so they just apparently scooped up all their stuff and just threw it in a dump truck and drove off. They could have done that 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
This is at Chippewa and Spring.
Yeah.
Because remember, we talked about this before when it was kind of, for some reason, kind of hit a resurgence in the news. And I'd honestly forgotten about the thing. And people there, like the family that lives on that corner.
Right there
they
next
were like,
to it.
It smells. We can't even sit on our front porch.
Right.
And so this is a failure of the city government, and it shows you how incompetent the city government is, how incompetent the Tashara Jones administration is, how incompetent the city, the city departments are. I mean, that's just incompetence, just a refusal to do something because they're like, well, we can't make them do anything. Yeah, you can.
It's like that's literally what the people have empowered you to do.
Right.
Is do something about things like that.
Right. I mean, you let your grass go too much, you get a letter from the city. And here they're like, well, we keep asking them how we can help them, and they just won't take any help. Okay, well, somebody's given them resources.
Right.
Or they wouldn't still be there.
Yeah.
And so one thing, and maybe this will be my mini hot take, is I keep reading all these stories, all the people in the neighborhood, they're like, well, they're made us feel unsafe, and they smelled up the place, and boy, we're really worried about them. We hope they're being taken care of. No, you don't.
No.
I wouldn't.
No.
If that happened in my neighborhood, first of all, it wouldn't. Well, no, I'm in Richmond Heights. I don't know. The virtue signaling liberals might be too afraid to do anything. But if they talk to me, I'm like, I'm glad they're gone. I don't care where they went. They were smelling up the place. Why did this take so long? I don't care what happened to them.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, prior to that, somewhere along maybe week 2, I would have gotten a group of people together, and we would remove them.
Right. Yeah.
That's how that would go.
If the city doesn't come in to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Especially since this was up on the sidewalk and over the easement, which is, the easement members your yard too. And so it just means the easement means the city can do whatever it wants with your property, for utilities and things like that. And, I just see so much stupid around this whole thing. And the fact that it was allowed to keep going, and this neighborhood felt powerless.
Yeah.
Stupid on the city's part. Obviously, the crazy people involved. Kind of stupid on the neighborhood's part because they didn't take their own action.
I'd say cowardice.
Yeah.
More than anything else.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
Good point.
Because it's one thing. It's like they know better. They know what should happen.
Right.
They're just not willing to get their hands dirty doing it.
Yeah, and we're afraid to. I mean, because they probably could have been afraid that the city would cite them or prosecute them. I'm like, no, Kimberly Gardner was the prosecutor at the time. She wasn't prosecuting anybody.
Yeah, seriously.
But you've got just insane people causing problems for everybody else. There's no way, even despite the fact that they're insane, that they did not recognize that they were being a problem for other people. So you blame basically everybody, including the neighbors who were victimized by this.
Yes.
There's my hot take. hey, neighborhood there at Spring and Chippewa, this is partly your fault too, because you should have ripped the whole thing down by yourself.
Yes, we are blaming the victim.
Yes.
And I agree.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019. Man, this is what happens when I'm tired. I'll just say whatever.
It just comes right out.
Let's just say it here. All right, just ahead here. You see those? I saw this. It was a Twitter. It was Fox News posting. It's like Major League Baseball forces pitcher to change gloves because of American flag. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
So let me get you the whole story.
Yes, please.
Here,
I want to understand.
because conservative media's, kind of ran with this one and they didn't get it right.
Veering
They
into
just
that
did-
sensationalism.
You
a
had,
bit.
yes, because you had to read down the story to go, oh, okay.
Okay.
That's what it was.
I hate that. I hate
know.
that. You read a headline, it makes you feel one way, and you get to like paragraph 7, and you're like, oh, so the headline was a lie. You lied to me.
The headline was technically correct.
Or that. Yeah. You misled me.
Yeah, but the context was wrong.
Yeah, I don't
All
like
right.
that.
Let's do that at 6:35. Why? Because this is America, man. Messing with our flag and baseball.
Come on. Don't touch my apple pie.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid 70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Tim Jones here with Dr. Kim Patton from Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare. Kim, you focus on the treating of neuropathy. What are the signs of neuropathy?
The most common symptoms are numbness, burning, cramping, usually in the hands and feet.
Tell me about the success you're having with your Restored Neuropathy Treatment Program.
Tim, our program includes 8 distinct steps, offering a unique experience from other treatments. No surgery, no addictive medications, and we are seeing a success rate of 95%.
Kim, that is incredible. How can people learn more?
Visit us online at CIH.health. That's CIH.health.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL, Haunted Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right, it's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Man, what a great party you're throwing here. This wasp nest is great.
Yeah, man, we got about 70 wasps in here.
Too bad we can't fit any more wasps in here. It looks like they're having fun outside, stinging all the kids. Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Hey, it's Friday at 4:20. We'll speak with Sarah Parshall-Perry from Heritage on the new Title IX rule. And at 5:20, economist Dr. Aaron Hudlin of the Show Me Institute.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, guys.
Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, right here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
Sometimes you twist, always insist that
Boy, if this doesn't sound 80s, I don't know what does.
Boy, it's right in the 80s wheelhouse.
That's right.
Sure is.
Benjamin Orr.
Yeah, on this Flashback Friday.
That's sound, man.
Well, whoever requested this one, thank you.
Yes.
All right. How much of today's bump music is requested?
All of it.
Everything.
Yeah, except for our last song, which is
sure,
our normal
the
Lover
normal.
Boy.
But that's still an 80s song.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay, Fox and some other conservative media kind of screeched about Major League Baseball telling a player he can't have an American flag on his glove. But did they really?
Yeah.
Okay, so part of this is about, let me set the facts straight. The other part is about, come on, guys, you don't have to be all super sensationalistic about everything. I'll set the record straight on that.
Okay.
Don't forget, we are number one for live and local conservative talk 7 days a week. Randy Tobler Show. Tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. 24 hours from right now. Okay, going to get into this thing with the Major League Baseball. You may have seen those headlines here. But Scott's got something to say about the homeless. Shanty is a good word, Gabe.
Yeah.
I think when they finally just dug it up, not even dug it up, just tore it down and threw it in a dump truck and did something with them. Scott, you're on the air. What do you think?
Good morning, gentlemen. I agree that they had to take it down. I disagree that it was not without peril for the citizens to do it. Gardner was crazy. She, especially if you were white, right? It was you were privileged, and she would have gone after these folks. My point is the shanty that they were in, since they were from the Sudan, was probably similar housing. Secondly, the Free Palestine folks, these are the same folks that want free lunches, free health care, free daycare, free college, free everything. Most of them don't even know what Free Palestine means to them. It's just free. That's why they want it.
I like that. Nice.
Well played, sir.
Hey, Scott. Hey, thanks, man. That's a good one for the first call of the day.
I want a Palestine.
There you go. Can I have one? It's
Can
free.
I have one? Yeah, it's like
It's free.
they're giving away Palestines, right?
Give me one. Give me one. Hey, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Honestly,
man.
that reminds me of a quick interview somebody did of some girl who had shown up from Columbia to the NYU,
Yes, I saw
and they were
this.
asked, "So why are you here?" And she did not know.
No, and she asked her friend, and she's like,
"Do you know?"
what
It's
do
like, I wish
don't
I was.
know.
I wish I was more informed on it. But we're here in solidarity.
With what?
For why? For why? That's my question.
Oh, man.
See, that's why I made the comment the other day about if you live in the dorms on a campus, then you've got a situation where, yeah, let's go out and do whatever everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
right. All right. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you being on the program here. Okay, so I saw this right after the show yesterday. Fox News, their headline is Cubs pitcher forced to change glove due to white and American flag patch. Quote, just representing my country. And I saw similar headlines in others. Major League Baseball forces pitcher to change his glove because of American flag.
Okay.
And now being a baseball guy, I immediately knew that was crap. I immediately knew that was garbage. Because, Stel, I mean, you're as Americana as they get here, but are they full of crap? Or do you know where I'm going with this?
Well, see, for me, the trigger word was Cubs.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Hey,
right.
Hold on. But considering you and I, and Gabe is probably also familiar with it too, there are certain regulations regarding clothing on the baseball field.
Equipment and stuff like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and wearing chains, for instance, around your neck and other items.
They can't be out.
Anything that's distracting to a batter, the umpire is going to go, hey, I'm sorry, but you need to either take that stuff off or get another glove in this case.
Right, exactly. So Chicago Cubs pitcher Luke Little had to change his gloves when they were playing the Astros on Wednesday because, like you said, Stel, and I pointed this out on my Twitter account or X account. Just look up AVP Radio Show on there. I said, wait a minute. No, it's not because he had an American flag on his glove. It's because anything that is brightly colored or white is not allowed on the pitcher's glove because it could be a distraction and therefore an advantage for the pitcher.
Right.
That's been in the rules for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, this may have been in the rules for 50 or 60 years at this point. It's also why pitchers can't wear wristbands.
Mhm.
And like you said, they can't wear jewelry that's out. They can't wear a necklace that's out, a gold necklace. If they have an earring in, they can't wear it if it's too big. Pitchers, other players can wear them.
Yeah.
But pitchers cannot. There's a very strict set of regulations to keep the distractions at a minimum. That's an integrity of the game thing. But the headline was,
Yeah.
the headline was Major League Baseball won't let him have an American flag. No, that's not it at all.
There's one other thing to keep in mind, the batter's eye, which most folks don't really think about. That's in center field, that area where it's usually black.
Or green.
Or green, like it is at Busch Stadium. And that's intentional so that the batter doesn't have distractions as he's trying to catch the ball coming out of the pitcher's hand.
Right, because anything is very distracting. Like, for instance, let me tell you a funny story. Last night, I'm playing in Fairview Heights last night, and I'm up to bat, and I was the leadoff batter in that particular inning. I see people look around like, hold on, I'm like, what's going on? And the field umpire had run into the bathroom real quick between the innings, and he wasn't back yet. And so I look back at the umpire who was behind the plate, and he goes, I can handle it. It's fine. I said, all right, if everybody's good with that works for me too. I mean, it's old man baseball. It's adult league baseball. Well, about after the first pitch, the field umpire is going back out on the field. And so he's coming in from the third base side, but when there's nobody on base, a two-man crew sets up on first base side. So he has to walk the whole angle of the field to get to where he's supposed to go. And so I step out of the batter's box to let him walk over there. And this guy was a little bit of a jerk the whole night. He was like looking for reason. I don't know.
Bit of an attitude?
Yeah, a little bit of an attitude. I don't know what it was. And so I get out because he's walking behind the pitcher. And then he does the roll his hands. He's like, okay, go, get in the batter's box. Well, first of all, that's not his job. That's the other. But anyway, and I'm like, you're
walking right through my eyes.
in my line of sight. That's distracting. No, I'm letting you get over there. I mean, we were beating them. We won big last night. Let's put it that way. I got a lot of friends on their team, so I don't want to rub it in.
We won bigly.
We won bigly. And so anything can be a distraction. But the other part of this is that how much media, and even like some of the local media, it was like Major League Baseball makes pitcher change glove because of American flag. And if all you did was read the headline, it's like those anti-American bastards.
Exactly.
But no, that's not what happened.
Next thing they're doing, they're coming after our apple pie. I tell you. I tell you what.
They banned
our gas-powered Chevrolet.
They banned teams with red, white, and blue. I mean, they're gonna, and I saw that. I'm like, wait a minute. We call out the left for the hyperbole and the misleading headlines all the time.
Yeah.
So this is a little thing. It's not that big of a deal. But if you just read the headlines, MLB went woke and hates America.
Yes, that's the impression that the headline was designed to give you.
No, MLB tapped its toe into the wokeness a few years ago, and they went, ooh, no, we're not doing that again.
Yeah, they pulled back a shorter toe.
Ooh, yes, they did.
I still haven't forgiven them.
Man.
There are a lot of the All-Star game.
There are a lot of people who still haven't.
Right, and but this one here, I'm like, no. That is not the case. Because you saw a bunch of the comments, people like, I'm never going to a baseball game again. I can't believe they would, I'm like... Well, first of all, people say I'm never going to do a game again. Probably don't go to games anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm boycotting MLB. I'm never watching a game again. Okay, well, then you didn't read the story. That's how it was. I mean, literally, that's been in the rules for generations now that you can't do that.
It could have been any flag.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
My question was going to be, and it's kind of an awkward question, but what if it had been an Israeli flag?
Ooh, there you go.
I thought, whoa, we would have seen some interesting pushback there.
Because they would have made him change the glove there, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's mostly white.
It's mostly white. Yeah,
that's right.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. Now, think of some flag that's got like nothing but dark colors on it. I mean, name anyone. It doesn't really matter. If it's got dark colors on it, that's fine.
Right, because it would blend into the dark colors of the glove, right?
Right. It's just the bright colors, and you can't have the patch or anything with the bright colors on it. That's all it is. So the media, it just shows you that the media is looking to manipulate, and partially because they want the clicks, and they want what we call digital dollars, and they want the activity on this. But, at the same time, don't think for a minute that even our side doesn't do that. And the thing is, like, if you go to some of the really overtly conservative, they will write salacious headlines. One, I think because it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But two, because they're saying we're conservative and this is what we're trying to promote. And okay, that's at least intellectually honest.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's you can be provocative, but you have to be true.
Right.
You know, that's the thing. It's like if I say the Democrats are trying to push sexuality in front of 5-year-olds, you know, it's like, man, that's really provocative. It's like, yes, but it's true. But it's true. and here's why.
But here's the thing, though, is technically that headline was true.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He did have to change out
gloves
his glove
because of the American
flag.
Yeah.
But the full story is because the American flag's colors violated the rules of the established rules of the game.
Right.
So technically it's correct. It's just not the full story.
Sure. Well, and that's another thing. Framing stories using true information is part of writing those headlines.
Right.
Like, you know, if I did something, you know, if I did something illegal on the baseball field or on a basketball court, something like that, and I got ejected, or I got, you know, you could easily write headline, black player ejected from, you know what I mean?
That happens so often.
Right? It's like, what? Okay, hold on. It's like, by saying black player is ejected, you are trying to evoke something. You're trying to insinuate that it's racist, as opposed to guy who happens to be black did something wrong against the rules and got ejected. It's like, you know, that headline isn't getting clicks.
Right. That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen that all the time. You know, or they'll just like, comma, who is black, comma,
yes.
who is white.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, you're looking to create something that may or may not be there.
Exactly.
You know,
by the way, your hat's distracting.
Oh, is it distracting? Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's one of our advertisers.
Yeah, you would be allowed to wear that though.
Yes, because it's all dark colors.
And it's also a logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
On the hat. You can do that.
I could put this kind of patch on my glove as a picture. It's dark enough, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, okay. See,
you got the white.
You got the ruling. You got the ruling.
Yeah, because you got the white on.
There's a little bit of white. Okay, all right.
Yeah. All right.
I just like the G on it.
There you go. 314-912-1019. Let's dump some news on you here. I will start off with some salacious headlines.
Okay, some more.
Try to hook your attention, and then I will deliver the news here at around 6:51.
There you go.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Columbo for Capriotti's Sandwich Shop. Capriotti's is famous for setting themselves apart due to their dedication to superior quality and ingredients like slow-roasted, hand-pulled whole turkey and American Wagyu straight from Snake River Farms. That dedication to superior quality is evident from the very first bite into a Capriotti sandwich. Visit Capriotti's Sandwich Shop 7 days a week at the corner of Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill, and get more info, including how to impress at your next event with their great catering at capriottis.com.
What's the key to maximizing the value of your outdoor space? Satisfaction. And getting a fence or deck that exceeds expectations with the highest quality, American-made material. And working with a team that cares about your project as much as you do. And adding safety and security for your family and pets to play, relax, and entertain. At STL Fenceworks, satisfaction is our core value. Doing it right the first time, standing above the competition. At STLFenceworks.com, your satisfaction is our passion.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
So we finally got the parts for the time machine.
Classic Kicks Country is streaming now. Hear all your new country favorites from the 90s. Streaming as it happened in the 90s. Classic Kicks. Download the Classic Kicks app from the App Store. Online at ClassicKicks.com.
Take it easy.
Or enable the Classic Kicks skill on Alexa. 90s New Country streaming now. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
47 deadbeats living in a back street, north, east, west, south, all in the same house. Sitting in a back room, waiting for the big boom. I'm in the bedroom, waiting for my baby. She's so mean.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
I didn't even need a note to name that song. I just heard the pow at the very beginning. I'm like, that's the Escape Club.
Went right to it. It's kind of
funny.
amazing.
Every time I hear that song, it reminds me of a mini controversy we had in my high school back in the day. This song came out in, 86, 87, 88, something like that.
Right.
88. And our, cheerleading dance team wanted to do, a halftime dance to that song.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it has the lyrics in there later in the song that goes, gimme safe sex.
Oh.
And so there was a
mini controversy.
Little mini kerfuffle as to whether or not they could do that. I don't think they ended up doing that, but that was one of the songs they wanted to do a dance to. For some reason, whenever I hear the song, I remember that back in the 80s and the local school going, oh, you can't do that. Whereas now it's well, is it trans sex? Then of course.
Anyway. Well, the song would be playing while a dude with fake boobs are hanging out throwing condoms into a crowd.
Yes, precisely. Exactly. Oh, and speaking of that type of creep, I've got a hot take on that at 7:20.
Okay, let's go.
All right, let's talk about some news here. Let's dump some news on you. One neighborhood's long nightmare finally over as a homeless couple's been evicted from their camp that was set up on the street and on the sidewalk. A Hollywood creep's conviction is overturned, and the Cardinals and Battlehawks both on the road this weekend. So that's what's happening here. All right, it is 6:53 right now. St. Louis City workers finally cleared out that homeless camp the two Sudanese immigrants set up at Chippewa and Spring. That happened yesterday, happened Thursday. The couple have been living there for over 3 freaking years, and the camp sprawled from the street corner onto the sidewalk. The city says it's helping the couple with housing, although there's no word on where they went or who's paying for it.
Yeah. I wish there was a little more story about how the city is helping them with housing.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because you could have done this the entire time. It's I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand why it took 3 years. I don't understand where they're going with this. Tell us something.
I read a couple of different stories on this from a couple different of the local TV stations, and one of them was the city whatever official they talked to is he rejected the notion, or he disagreed with the notion that they didn't do anything about it. I'm it's 3 years. What do you mean you didn't do anything?
Clearly you didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything about it. All right, we're going to talk about this in more depth at 7:05 with Susie Moore from RedState.com. But there were arguments yesterday in the case that Donald Trump has taken to the Supreme Court regarding his argument that he should have absolute immunity from criminal prosecution. So one of his attorneys, Will Scharf, who's been on this show a number of times, was on the story with Martha McCallum on Fox, and he thinks that the arguments went well and the justices seem to lean towards Donald Trump's argument.
It certainly seems that the Supreme Court wants to ensure that the system we end up with is a system that preserves presidential prerogatives, that preserves the ability of the president to respond decisively to the situations that arise during the course of a presidency.
Okay, so conversely, one of the attorneys arguing for the special counsel is Michael Dreeben, and here's part of what he had to say.
The existing system is a carefully balanced framework. It protects the president, but not at the high constitutional cost of blanket criminal immunity. That has been the understanding of every president from the framing through Watergate and up to today.
Okay, so we're going to talk to Susie about this in more depth here in a little bit, Gabe. But this is it is a crucial case. I'm not sure that I'm sold on the idea that anybody in this country is put above the law. in any way, shape, or form, but it's going to be interesting to see what ruling the Supreme Court does, which is not going to come before these other trials happen.
Susie had a hot take on Twitter about this, and she declared that basically nobody's going to be happy with the ruling.
Probably, yeah. But
So
we're
here
going to
we
talk
go.
to her about that in about 10 minutes or so.
Mhm.
Okay, another ruling that happened yesterday in another case that's really caught a lot of people off guard. Ashley Judd, you remember her? Yeah. Used to be a pretty popular actress. She was at a press conference after a New York appeals court overturned the 2020 rape conviction of former entertainment mogul Harvey Weinstein.
Wow.
And here's part of what she had to say. If my computer will click on the right file. Here we go. Here's what Ashley Judd had to say.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal. And our institutions betray survivors of male sexual violence.
The New York Appeals Court found that the judge in the Weinstein trial should not have allowed prosecutors to call women as witnesses to testify when their claims against Weinstein were not directly related to the charges in the case at hand.
Interesting.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if I'm on trial for fraud and there are potential other people who've been defrauded by me, I would think that would be relevant.
Let's ask Susie about that here in a little bit.
All right.
Because that's really what it came down to. Now, he's not being let out of prison, though,
Right.
because remember, he was convicted of rape in another case in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And so he's serving a sentence there, so he is not getting out of prison.
Yeah.
All right. The Cardinals start a 3-game series with the Mets in New York today. Miles Michaelis will start for the Redbirds. He's 1-3 on the year. He's not off to a good start. First pitch is at 6:10, but you're probably not going to see it because you can only see it if you have Apple Plus. One of those.
Yeah, I hate how distributed our access to sports has become.
MLB, you're making it hard to be fans. The UFL's highest scoring team, which is who?
The Battlehawks.
That's right. On the road this weekend, they play the DC Defenders in Washington. That is a Sunday morning game at 11 o'clock, and it's on ESPN.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo with a great offer from the cleaning pros at Zero Res. So many of us are suffering from allergies right now. It's time to get your home clean and healthy, and Zero Res is here to help. Book a cleaning in April and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129, plus you can take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Get the jump on spring cleaning now. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Emory University and Ohio State among the latest schools seeing anti-Israel, anti-Semitic protests, demonstrations that continue spreading around the country. And former President Trump says that President Biden has done nothing but inflame the situation.
The front having to do with Palestine and Israel and protests and hate, anger, Biden is sending an absolutely horrible message. Horrible, horrible message. He has no idea how to message. He can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He doesn't know what to do. This is not our president.
A high-level Egyptian delegation is in Israel hoping to broker a ceasefire with Hamas in Gaza. Egypt warns that a potential Israeli offensive focused on the southern city of Rafah on the Egyptian border could have catastrophic consequences. Meanwhile, violence along Israel's northern border.
Lebanon's militant Hezbollah group says its fighters fired anti-tank missiles and artillery shells at an Israeli military convoy in a disputed area along the border, killing an Israeli civilian. Hezbollah adds its fighters ambushed the convoy shortly before midnight on Thursday, destroying 2 vehicles. The Israeli military has commented the ambush wounded an Israeli citizen doing infrastructure work. He'd later died of his wounds. Low-intensity fighting along the Israel-Lebanon border has repeatedly threatened to boil over as Israel has targeted senior Hezbollah militants in recent months. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced on both sides of the border. I'm Charles Philithesma.
Today will be day 4 on the witness stand for former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, testifying at former President Trump's criminal trial in New York. Mr. Trump has pleaded not guilty to falsifying business records. Watching Wall Street, stock futures pointing to a higher open this morning. The Dow futures are up 34 points. NASDAQ futures 173 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Purely Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-349-8877. That's 800-349-8877.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid-70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Senior Memorial. Give Benjamin Schaefer a call at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hey folks, Tim Jones here. I'm here with Stewie. Stewie, tell us all about the bagel loan and how people can use it to compete with the competition.
You know what, Tim? Inventory is low. You're going to have to be aggressive out there. We're going to give you the bagel loan. Bagel loan means no closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees. It's the big bagel. Take that money you would save, add it to your bid. You'll beat the competition hands down. Do it now and do it in 12 days.
Close in less than 12 days. Call Stewie 314-324-4440 or better yet, just Google the bagel loan.
MLS number 226715.
He is finally coming. Yo, it's Vic, and I'm excited that Tom Shalhoub will be at the St. Charles Funny Bone this weekend. Yep, the same guy, the same Tom Shalhoub you see on Gutfeld doing his Joe Biden. No. Fox Nation, and the only person to ever appear as a correspondent on The Daily Show and a host on the Fox News Channel. I love this guy's stand-up, and you can see him live this weekend. Just go to stlouisfunnybone.com or the box office at the St. Charles Funny Bone on the streets of St. Charles. Tom Shalhoub this weekend at the St. Charles Funny Bone.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
It's Friday!
All right, let's talk about a couple of these court cases dominating the headlines. I think specifically, guys, let's get the updates and try to make sense of them. Because a couple of these, I'm like, just break them down for me and let me know what they mean.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got an opinion, but we don't always understand what they actually mean or what's happening. That doesn't stop us from having opinions, though. Yep. All right, 7:06 right now. By the way, News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk all week long, baby. The Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 10 o'clock. So you night owls out there, check that out. Danny's got a bunch of energy. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Check that out. All right, joined now by Susie Moore from RedState.com, and of course, part of the News Talk family from day one right here. So Susie, appreciate you lending us some of your legal expertise on this. Let me start with the Trump case and the arguments that he's making for what he and his lawyers are calling absolute immunity. So before the Supreme Court, tell me what the Supreme Court is actually deciding. As I understand it, and I could be completely wrong about this, but basically is Donald Trump arguing that when you are the president, you should not be prosecuted for anything that you do unless you're impeached and convicted, but otherwise you're essentially immune from any criminal prosecution no matter what you do. Is that along the lines of what he's arguing?
Yeah, that's pretty close to what they're arguing. And obviously that's a very, very broad argument. But they are making a distinction. They're saying they are acknowledging a distinction between private acts and official acts. It's just that they're saying that official acts basically encompasses almost everything you do as a president, basically, even if it's just sort of tangentially related to the office.
Good morning, Susie. Gabe here. So how did the arguments go over in court, if you were aware of those proceedings?
Oh, I was aware of them.
I figured so,
I was listening, yeah. So I feel like the Trump lawyer made the better argument. The lawyer who was arguing for Trump's issue made the better argument, John Sauer. I don't think I would say his part of it went great, but it went better than the attorney that was arguing for the government, in my view, and apparently in the view of a number of other sort of legal experts that I follow. Now, the lawyer arguing for Trump had a heavier lift in that they were making very much an argument for that broad scope of immunity, but the lawyer for the government seemed to have a harder time responding to some of the questions that were put to him by the justices, and the justices overall seemed a bit more skeptical of some of the arguments that he was putting forth.
So, Susie, you've mentioned in your commentary that we don't know what the Supreme Court's going to rule, obviously, but you're confident that there's going to be something for everybody to dislike in this. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. So here's my instinct on it is this. I mean, they're going to make some determination that's going to probably result in the case being sent back to the lower courts for further factual determinations to be made. But in order to do that, they're probably going to have to come up with sort of a framework or guideline in terms of what constitutes immunity, what can fall under the umbrella of that. My instinct is this. John Roberts, the Chief Justice, his number one motivation, in my observation over the years, has always been to preserve the integrity of the court. So what that means is, in order to protect that baby, they're going to have to split the immunity baby. You could tell from the questions that the liberal justices were asking that they are less inclined to extend the presidential immunity very far at all. So there's going to be, I think, a split decision. I do not think this is going to be a unanimous decision. And I think it's going to be one where they kind of knit together a tolerable compromise of 5 or 6 justices that's going to leave the Trump team and people who are, very much on Trump's side of things disappointed because it doesn't afford him immunity broad enough that will, basically make all the criminal cases go away right now. But it's going to also be broader than what the government's arguing and what liberals want, because they all just want to see him in jail right this second.
That's really interesting, and I've been wondering, how detailed the justice could be in their determination here. Could they actually in their creation of that framework, could they get really, really specific on what counts as what can be considered immune and what falls outside of that?
I think what they're going to do is set up a framework that determines not what is immune and what isn't, but more so determines what is an official act and what isn't. Because I think that the premise is going to be, if it's an official act, and they'll my gut says it'll probably be a decently broad reading of that, then it is immune, but that doesn't go on endlessly. A lot of reference was made back to, I think the case is Nixon versus Fitzgerald. It's an old case that's the one that establishes immunity for civil liability for presidents, and that's pretty broad. That's while they are in office. So I think that's going to be the framework against which they build this new. That there's going to be a new test coming out of the Supreme Court is my prediction.
Yeah, because while a lot of people on both sides of the political spectrum, look at this as, are they going to get Donald Trump or not? Whatever's decision is made here, or if made eventually, by sending it back and bringing it back to the Supreme Court down the road, this affects every presidency from here until the end of time at this point, essentially. Yeah,
and that point was made during the argument. I think it was Alito and maybe one of the other justices, because while the government was arguing, because they were kind of making this argument, and they're basically, without coming out and saying it, they were like, okay, dummies, this isn't just about Trump.
Right.
This is going to have an impact on all future presidencies, and at most, he's only going to be president again once. It's like, come on, you got to look beyond the bad orange man.
Yeah, precisely. All right, we're visiting with Susie Moore from RedState.com. Okay, I was legitimately surprised, because I hadn't even thought about Harvey Weinstein in forever. I just thought, the creeper got thrown in jail, but one of his rape cases overturned. Not everything, but the one. And what they're saying is, they're not saying that there's evidence that he's not guilty, but they think that the judge and the prosecutors mishandled part of what they were doing. So was it a technical ruling that overturned it and leads to a new trial? Because, of course, there's a lot of people really angry. This was part of what started the that brief little Me Too movement that happened there for a little while. And a lot of people are really angry, feeling re-victimized, because Harvey Weinstein's had his rape conviction overturned after 4 years.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's basically a technical or a procedural ruling, and all it's saying is that in that one trial, they allowed witnesses to testify regarding bad behavior on his part that wasn't charged. And they said, basically, the Court of Appeals in New York said, no, this evidence shouldn't have come in on this charge. So they're sending it back. He will be retried, and or they will work out some sort of agreement. So he's not being set free. He's not been acquitted. It's nothing like that. It's just saying, look, you didn't go through the process right, and you had to be a little more exacting in what evidence you were going to let in and what evidence you weren't going to let in. The practical effect of it is probably going to be very minimal. In other words, it'll go back for retrial. The evidence against him was, as I recall, pretty strong. So, the next jury that's trying him, unless they decide they feel sorry for him because he's old and decrepit, is likely going to convict again, just without that added evidence that shouldn't have been in part of his trial. You never know for sure how those things are going to go, but that's my prediction. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that was a New York Court of Appeals. And that means that decision is binding on the lower courts, including, for instance, trials that are in session right now, including, for instance, trials that involve, Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So, Judge Merchant, who's overseeing the Trump criminal trial right now in Manhattan, is going to have to look at that ruling and say, okay, am I letting in a witness or evidence here based on the way this court has ruled, the Court of Appeals ruled, that is too much? Should I be being a little bit more exacting in what I'm letting in?
Yeah, because I also, you mentioned he's not being let out of jail. He was also convicted in another court in Los Angeles, and he's serving a sentence for that rape charge as well. So it's not like they're setting him free, and he's going to go start hosting parties again and just don't drink the drinks unless you poured it yourself kind of thing. But the other thing is, like, for instance, the press conference with some of the victims and Ashley Judd and some of the others basically saying we're being re-victimized again, or we're being re-victimized. And to some degree, that could very well be true, because some of the women who testified against him are going to be called to do it again. So there is maybe some sort of re-victimization. But in this case, if they want him to be held accountable, they're going to have to do it again. It may not be fair, but that's what's part of the system.
Yeah, no, and that is a good point. I mean, in terms it does have a big practical effect on those who were closely involved with the first trial and who may be called to testify again, or who were called to testify in that first one and got to kind of say their piece, but now they're being excluded. I mean, those people may have, an issue with that as well. So that the people the victims definitely are affected by it. Mm-hmm. Harvey Weinstein is not being affected by it in the sense that he is not being let out of jail.
Right. All right. Susie Moore, RedState.com. The coverage, you can find it on that website and their social media everywhere. Susie, thanks so much for clearing some of this up, because I think with the Trump stuff, essentially, the difference between public acts and private acts, I think there's a lot of hyperbole out there, and I want to make sure that we understand what's going on, because there's so many cases right now. Even my bingo card is getting full and messy with all the Trump court cases.
It's hard keeping track of them all, and that's my job.
And that's why we pay you the big bucks. Susie.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Right. All right. So find Susie work at RedState.com. Thanks, Susie. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Susie.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
All right. What's your hot take?
Mm-hmm. I got so many.
On anything. What's your hot take on anything? Let me know. 314-912-1019. I got a couple of them myself. You found one online on Twitter. So
we can talk about that one,
And we'll just kind of go around the room with what are our hot takes. And then at 7:35, listen, the next 2 or 3 days, crucial to the effort to protect life in Missouri. We'll explain why right around 7:35 here. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show.
So what exactly happened with that conversation, let's call it, between Senator Denny Hoskins and Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft? Well, we'll ask Jay Ashcroft about that Friday at 9:41.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
This is Rob with St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, and we'd like to let you know you don't have to maintain the grout in your home anymore. The grout on the floor or in your shower or bath area. How would you like zero grout in your bathroom? At St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, we focus on grout-free options for your bathroom. If you hate cleaning grout, St. Louis Bathroom Renovation, 314-477-6476. 314-477-6476. Give us a call.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Tony Colombo here, along with Tim Jones for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen are the #1 home selling team in the area, and I could say that from personal experience. They sold our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible, which put us in a great position as we tried to find our perfect new home. And with help from the Wallners, that's exactly what we did. Christine and I couldn't be happier with our experience working with Rodney and Jen Wallner. And Tim, the numbers speak for themselves.
That's right, Tony. Everybody knows the Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. And if you're looking to sell your home, right now they have so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. They're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois, so no matter where you are in the St. Louis region, you can put the Wallner's experience and work ethic to work for you. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Hey, thank you very much for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Yes, I just want you to know what a breath of fresh air you people are.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Colombo and Katie.
See you then.
Hey, forgot about this song.
I think a lot of folks have, but it's a great tune from The Call.
Yep. And that was requested.
It was.
Yesterday, because I remember that one, I think, came in on social media, and I was like, oh, man, The Call. Okay, great choice.
Band out of California. I want to say maybe Santa Cruz, California. Michael Bean, I think that's how his last name was pronounced, Been, did a lot of stuff with a lot of other groups, even did background vocals for some contemporary Christian bands like Second Chapter of Acts and a few others back in the day. Great singer, but you're right, folks kind of forget this song, which got a lot of rock music airplay, but didn't get much pop airplay. I don't know why, because it's really good.
Good song. All right, let's do some hot takes.
Yes.
Both here, maybe around the interwebs as well. It's 7:22 right now. By the way, in Missouri, the next few days, just critical to protecting life.
Yes.
I'm going to argue that we've got a responsibility to get the decline to sign word out, so we're going to bring you up to date on that at 7:35 here as well. Okay, Gabe, let's start with the one that you found.
Yes.
You found one on Twitter.
Yeah.
And you sent it to me, and you're saying, hey, there's kind of an unpopular opinion. I'm like, I don't know how unpopular that is, but it's a hot take.
It's absolutely a hot take.
Yeah, so let's so tell me what that is, and we'll just kind of react. By the way, if you have a hot take, and I don't care what it's about, it can be serious, it can be something else, it can be anything. 314-912-1019, or you can send it to us on social media. But what was that? Let's talk about that hot take that you found.
This is from an account called Chalkboard Heresy. It's apparently a former school teacher who's tired of the indoctrination, all the craziness in schools, and that's basically what his Twitter account is. And he said this: every foreigner on a student visa involved in these protests should be deported. You are our guest. You are not a citizen. You don't get to come to our country, use our education system, and be a radical in your spare time. # Columbia University.
Okay.
So there was a little bit of pushback on that, mostly because, hey, when you come to the country, you still enjoy constitutional rights like freedom of speech, and assembly, and association, and things like that. But if I were to maybe be a little more specific in my description of my agreement with this, I'd say if you are on any sort of visa and you get convicted of a felony, you should be deported.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I agree with that.
So here's the thing. Some of these kids are doing felonious things as part of their protests. That should get you deported.
Yeah, I agree, because the hot take on that, I have the same gut reaction you did. You know what? Our First Amendment does apply to people who are not citizens here. If you're in the country, especially legally, you've got a right to say what you want to say. But when you cross over into criminal activity, I'm not even certain that we need to convict you necessarily.
Yeah.
You are a guest. He's right about that. You're a guest, which means you're here at our good graces as well. But we need to be careful, like saying that anybody should get deported because of something they say.
Now, the accompanying
Even if it's
picture he
gross.
had was of a sort of one of these agitators, they're wearing that Hamas scarf or whatever, getting taken away by 2 NYPD officers. So I think in context, I think he's suggesting the agitators, the people who are really doing the heavy lifting for these violent, often violent protest movements are the ones that he's targeting with that, and I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay, I've got a hot take. Okay. So let me set this up real quick here. I found this story in a variety of news places, and it comes out of Amherst, Massachusetts. So there was an event organized by the Valley Families for Palestine. So this is going to be good.
Oh, boy.
and they decided to have an event called Queer Story Time for Palestine.
What?
Now, first of all, go try to do that in Palestine and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get this big fat dude who's a drag queen. He goes by Lil Miss Hot Mess, and he's leading children in chants for Palestine, dressed up like the clown drag thing.
Right.
So here's somebody actually got this on video. Chris Rufo published it. Oh, look at it.
Today what we're going to do is we're going to shout, Free Palestine. Can I hear that? Free Palestine! If you're a drag queen and you know it, shout, Free Palestine! If you're a drag queen and you know it and you really want to show it, you're a drag queen and you know it, shout, Free Palestine!
Okay, so that happened. I mean,
I have many hot takes coming off of that. Oh my gosh!
I couldn't help but notice. Well, everybody's focused on the weirdo who's dressed up in the clown woman face, and then all the little children. So they're looking at this guy being the pervert that he is, looking at the children as the victims they are. But you know what? No, I noticed. Every one of those kids was brought by their parents.
Yes. That was one of the first things that occurred to me. He's like, I hear a dude's, an adult male voice in response along with the little kids.
Okay, so here's my hot take. I said all of that to say this. Here's my hot take. I don't know these kids. I don't know these parents. I don't even like kids that much anymore now that mine are adults.
Yeah.
But I care more about those kids than their parents do. I am more concerned about their well-being and their welfare and them becoming decent human beings than their own parents are. That's my hot take, because what they're doing is not just involved in the grooming aspect of putting a sexual deviant up there in front of them and saying, isn't this guy great? Do what this guy says. But also because they're obviously engaging in the anti-Semitism and the hatred based on, nothing more than just hatred of Jewish people. That's really what it is. So that's my hot take is I don't know the parents, I don't know the kids, but I care more about the kids than their own parents do. That's my hot take.
I agree with that. I think what these types of parents are engaging in is a psychological abuse of their own children.
All right, who's got another hot take?
All right, I'll give you one, and this is not really politically oriented. This is just lifestyle oriented. So I'm coming to work a couple mornings ago, and I encountered, this is at 3:30 in the morning in Washington, Missouri. They're repaving the main highway, Highway 100, and also a major intersection with a stoplight. But they have no detour signs anywhere.
Oh, no.
So I come up to the intersection, everything is closed off. And I'm still kind of new to the area, so I don't know the back roads to try to get around to figure out how do I get past this. And immediately I'm thinking, I'm going to be stuck here for, 15, 20, 30 minutes.
That's when you texted me.
And that's when I texted you, and I realized you guys could have put some signs up maybe 1 or 2 blocks down, given some directions on where to go. Granted, it was 3:30 in the morning. They're thinking, who's going to be out here? Some idiot trying to drive to work, maybe? I don't know. Just a thought. So that really kind of ticked me off, but I finally figured out how to get around it.
You got another one?
Okay. Let's see.
Okay, so real quick, though, Jay Monty has one. He says on Rumble, he says, my hot take, we need to make Democrats live by their own rules that they apply to conservatives. Oh, don't be silly, Jay Monty. We don't do that.
Yeah, no, that's not how we do things here. Okay, this one's sticking with the lifestyle thing. We'll have a non-political, non-sociological sort of one here. Oreos are overrated.
Ooh.
Oh, them's fighting words for some third graders.
Look. Everybody likes cream filling. That's fine. That's the tasty part. People lick the cream filling first.
Even double stuff.
Look, the cream filling is fine. The cookie itself is mediocre at best. I mean, hey, come at me. Look at John Philosopher on Twitter, Gabe at Newstalk STL if you want to argue about it. But I think because I can't taste it, like there doesn't seem to be any taste. It's very chalky. When they crumble up the Oreo cookies to put into a cup and you put gummy worms in it, it's like, hey, look, it's dirt and worms. Yeah, it actually does taste like dirt.
Or a concrete or a blizzard.
Exactly. Well, it's dirt.
Yeah.
My kids loved that when they were little.
Now, I'll take cookies and cream ice cream. Like if you crush up Oreos and you put them in ice cream, it's like that's fine.
See,
go ahead, Mike.
See, and along those same lines, and my wife just never goes along with this because she thinks it's weird that my favorite kind of cookie is an oatmeal raisin cookie. And I say, listen, it's got oats and oatmeal. Raisin is a fruit. It's basically health food.
Yes, that's breakfast.
And she won't go along with that. That's my hot take on cookies, and she won't buy into it.
She won't bite on that.
You know, the thing is with Oreos, one thing they are good for if you want to do a display showing how an eclipse works.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You can separate.
Yeah, you separate one, right? So you got the bright white one.
And you can take about 12 of them and do the eclipse layout and show it. And the kids go crazy. They go, wow, that's awesome. Can we eat them now?
I was going to say, I would just take one little bite and then another one take a little bigger bite. And then take another bite.
Now it's gone.
Now, what was that flavored cream filling they tried to do a few years back?
Oh, they've got all kinds.
That was terrible.
It depends on the holiday because they'll fill it with like a orange one,
Yeah,
and then
that
they'll,
was
like
terrible.
then they have mint filling, and they have
That wasn't bad.
I'm trying to remember some of the other ones they've done. There's like birthday cake, and it looks like it's got sprinkles in it and stuff like that. Yeah, or they keep trying to expand the repertoire, but their cookie is trash.
I did not come to work day thinking that I was going to hear an argument over Oreo cookies.
I chose violence this morning.
By the way, Nabisco's on the phone. They'd like to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just ahead here, the next 48, 72 hours, crucial. And I try not to do a lot of hyperbole, and I don't think I'm being hyperbolic when I say the next couple of days, 2-3 days, is going to be absolutely crucial in Missouri to protecting life. We're going to tell you why, and also, here's another hot take. We've all got a responsibility to get the word out on this, and we'll do that starting at 7:35 here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Here's to the winners of the human race. Here's to the losers in the game.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Here's to the soldiers of the bitter war. Here's to the wall that bears their names. Here's to you, my little loves, with blessings from above, and then let the day begin.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid-70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
My sponsor, McGuire Moving, has job openings for drivers and movers, offering competitive pay. You can be off every night if you want or on the road. You're off every other weekend. Full benefits, insurance, paid vacations. But McGuire is a very good company. So here's a very important requirement. You must excel in making customers happy. Full or part-time job? More information, go to McGuireMoving.com. Apply online at McGuireMoving.com/careers.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Victor Davis Hanson with the Hoover Institute has a very interesting question. Why do they want to destroy us? In fact, he says if someone wished to destroy America, what could they do anything more catastrophic than what we're doing? He said, how about beginning by wiping out a 2,000-mile border? Allow 10 million foreign nationals to enter unlawfully. Number 2, maybe run up $35 trillion in national debt. Add $1 trillion to it each 100 days. And then also maybe appease or subsidize enemies like Iran and China. Demonize allies such as Israel. Then emasculate the military. Redefine violent crime as all understandable. He said in the end, these people, they have no agenda. They're aimless fools, utter incompetence, bunglers just winging it day by day in response to what their radical media, academic, and political masters dictate. And yet, at the same time, while he goes through that list, and we're already seeing it, we're living through it each and every day, He does admit that in the end, they probably have no idea of the damage they are doing to our great nation.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Pigeons, they are everywhere, and they're very good at dive bombing freshly washed cars. Wellington Environmental reminds you those droppings are more than a nuisance. They can be a major health issue, especially massive droppings on buildings or in parking garages. So who do you call to safely clean it up? You do what many hospitals, universities, public buildings already do. You call Wellington Environmental. Wellington Environmental has been dealing with all kinds of hazards for 35 years. Special people, special skills, special equipment. Wellington gets it done. So to avoid health issues ranging from pigeon droppings to mold to chemical leaks, contact Wellington. 314-644-4930. 644-4930. WellingtonSTL.com. Wellington Environmental. Your world cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
Looking to get a new carpet, hardwood, or tile installed quickly and efficiently in your home? Look no further than Michael's Flooring Outlet. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a family-owned and operated business with a 30-year history of offering a diverse array of high-quality options in flooring. My parents and in-laws used Michael's to rip up their old carpet and replace it, and they are both happy with the product and installation from Michael's. You can shop at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Darting Prairie, or St. Peters, or you can check them out at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
The news and talk.
I condemn anti-Semitic protest.
That matters to St. Louis.
What he needs to be doing is being the commander-in-chief.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
We're dealing with an international issue here.
News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
I named that tune in 4 notes.
Yeah.
Just so we know.
Yes, you sure did.
When it comes to 80s music, I'm completely nerd
It's
about
kind
that.
of amazing.
Okay, let me just say this up front. What we're about to talk about is really important, and it's very, very time sensitive. Don't jump around channels right now.
Yeah.
Make this really just as plain as I can make it. I never do a segment like that.
Yeah.
We need you to hear this conversation.
Please listen.
We need you to forward this conversation once it gets posted on the podcast here in a little bit as well. We need you to take this information and get it out in front of as many people as possible. And I'm going to argue that we've all got a responsibility to do it, which is why we're doing this right now.
Yes. You have to be prepared to take action after this.
Okay, so we're joined now by Steve Rupp from Right to Life, Missouri Right to Life. And Steve, thanks for coming in here.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate this. And I'm trying not to sound hyperbolic, but we really have a time issue right now because we've been saying decline to sign for months now because the pro-abortion activists want to basically override Missouri's Constitution.
Right.
Make Missouri one of the most radically pro-abortion states when it comes to the laws in the country. I mean, literally on par with like California and Illinois. But there's a deadline coming up for them to get the signatures to put this on the ballot. And it's crucial that we let people know you don't have to sign this thing, and please let others know. Don't give in to any pressure.
Right, right. You know, Mike, I'm going to start this, if it's okay, just by saying, please know that what we're talking about here is in no way in judgment of anyone who's ever had an abortion.
Right.
This isn't about looking backwards. This is about looking forward and helping women and people that are considering abortions to avoid the consequences of abortions, the physical consequences, the emotional consequences, the spiritual consequences. That's what we're trying to do, is to try to help women going forward avoid those consequences. So, and we have a deadline looming on May 5th. Right now what's happening is there are paid canvassers all across the state of Missouri collecting signatures. They're getting paid $35 an hour to go out and collect signatures. And the money's coming from out of state. It's coming from California. It's coming from New York. It's coming from Washington, D.C. to change the Missouri Constitution. This is our Constitution. It's not their Constitution. And they're paying these people to come in here from all over the country to change our Constitution, to take us literally 180 degrees from where we are. We have a virtual ban on abortions in Missouri right now that was hard fought. And we worked for 50 years to be able to create a ban on abortions in the state of Missouri. This would flip that completely on its ear. And abortion would be available for all 9 months of pregnancy. There would be virtually no restrictions on abortion if this initiative petition passes. And they're collecting signatures. They need about 172,000 signatures across the state, and they're collecting them feverishly because the May 5th date is coming up very quickly. It's next Sunday.
And that also means that they really, because I've done petition drives before, in other states, and you need a lot more than that number because there will be many that aren't valid. And so that's just part of the mathematical formula that's out there. But it's interesting. Some of the local media did a fact check, like where's the money coming from? And they even confirmed it's something like 85% of the money is from out of state when it comes to this is an abortion activist target right now. And so we don't know how many signatures they have. Their actions and what they're saying and what they're not saying seem to indicate that they're not sure they've got enough right now. So tell me about the kind of renewing the messaging of why we need to have the decline to sign messaging out there in front of some people, because there's going to be a lot of high pressure on a lot of people right now.
There is right now. I was at the Lake St. Louis farmers market last weekend, and I found I went out there because we had a tip. The Missouri Right to Life has a tip line that you can call in and say, hey, there's a canvasser at the Walmart in Ferguson. And we have coordinators in all 114 counties in the state of Missouri, and those coordinators will get their volunteers to go to that location and hold up these decline to sign signs. And I did that at the farmers market. I found this woman who was collecting signatures, and we ended up developing a really pretty good relationship because she didn't know the truth.
Sure.
And I was able, and I was not there to yell at anybody. I wasn't there to scream at anybody. I was just holding up the sign and handing out these decline to sign information brochures. And so I followed her around for 2 hours. I followed her around, and all the time that I was talking to her, she wasn't able to collect signatures.
Right.
And she was telling people, "Would you sign this petition for reproductive rights?" And a lot of people said, "No, I will not." And the people that said no that's not nice. And they were friendly and they were nice. And the people that were signing them, and I said, "Ma'am, please don't sign this. Know what you're signing. And this is going to enshrine abortion in the state of Missouri's Constitution. Know what you're signing. But you can come tomorrow and sign. But go home and do your homework. And here's some information to help you do that." And many of them didn't sign. Now, the ones that did were very angry.
Oh, yeah.
They yelled at me and cursed at me.
Sure.
And they went ahead and signed. "I'm going to sign this." And it was so there's so much anger on the other side to be able to kill innocent children, because abortion is the intentional taking of an innocent human life by violent means. Every abortion is a violent act.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think we've been talking about too about these petitions is that you mentioned that the petitioner wasn't really informed on the issue and really just they're ultimately to collect a paycheck, and there are others who and we've seen this in the past who are deliberately misleading in their pitch to get people to sign. Right?
We had one of our board members on a call the other day. Said that she came out of Mass. She was down in, I think, Springfield. She came out of Mass, and there was a petition gatherer right there on the sidewalk, right outside of Mass, saying this: if you sign this petition, it will ban abortion in the state of Missouri.
Really?
A bold-faced lie.
Oh my gosh!
And our board member said, "Hold on a minute. Let me see that petition." No. You're lying. This petition will enshrine. No. This is going to ban abortions. Yeah. And we talked to Jay Ashcroft, the Secretary of State. He said they are not held to the truth.
Right.
No.
The burden lies on the person that's signing it, not on the person who's collecting those signatures. They can say anything they want, and they do.
Right.
Wow.
To the tune of...
See, and that's why we said early on, this year just declined to sign everything because this is so important. There were some other petition ideas that weren't that bad out there, but we said, listen, just don't have any confusion. Petition gatherers, I mean, they're hired guns.
Right.
There could even be somebody, who ostensibly is pro-life personally, but they're like, I got to pay the rent. But saying that, I mean, that's probably some aspect of trolling and a particular level of hatred that's happening out there.
Especially right in front of the parish.
That person did not do anything illegal.
Right.
They were unethical, but not illegal.
Right.
But let me go to there. So let's say that they probably got a couple signatures like, oh, yeah, I want to ban abortion. Sure, you got it. Okay, so if somebody gets home and says, oh, my goodness, I just signed to put that on the ballot. What can they do about it, or do they just have to live with that mistake for the rest of their lives?
No, they can actually appeal to the Secretary of State to get their signature taken off of there. If they said, "Oh my gosh, I signed something. I want my signature taken. How do I do that?" We've got. You can go onto the Missouri Right to Life website, MissouriLife.org, and there's information on there. How do you withdraw your signature from a petition? And it's really very simple. All you have to do is have a sworn statement, and it should be notarized. It doesn't have to be notarized, but we talked to Jay Ashcroft again about this, and he said a notarized petition that you want your signature taken off of there is solid. That's a solid sworn statement versus me swearing that you are you, and that might get thrown out. So you don't have to have it notarized, but it's probably best to do that. And then you just send it to the Secretary of State. But you've got to do that before the signatures are turned in on May 5th.
Okay,
After
so
that, you
time
can't
is
take
of
your
the
name out.
essence.
Yes, time is of the essence.
So there's going to be a flurry of activity this weekend.
Yes.
We know that.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
the 5th is, what's the 5th? Thursday, Friday, something like that, coming up here.
Saturday.
Saturday.
Or Sunday.
Sunday's the 5th.
Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday the 5th.
Okay. Oh, that's right, Sunday. And so this weekend, though, there's going to be a flurry of activity.
There already is.
Oh, my goodness. So we've got to get this word out. But like you said, you don't have to. We're not calling people to get in people's faces and argue and yell. People don't like the conflict.
Right.
Very simple. No,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
You don't have to win them over. You don't have to. But it's important that people understand what's at stake right here. And it's also important that we let others know about it. So for those who are saying, yeah, I won't sign, I don't want to get, but what's the right messaging to tell your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, the other people in your church or wherever it is? Hey, beware of this, especially knowing that they're willing to stoop to any dishonest level whatsoever to get those signatures.
Yeah, it's really just a simple decline to sign.
Yeah.
Just don't sign. And you said it earlier, any of the petitions, because they might be collecting signatures for this and saying, oh, this is for education.
Right.
Or this
Right.
is, because they're not held to any standards.
Protect women's health care, right?
Yes,
We've
yeah.
heard that
Exactly.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so in any event, we just say, please decline to sign. Tell your friends to decline to sign. Get on your Facebook account. Get on your email account. Send it to everybody. Please don't sign, because you're right. There's going to be a huge flurry of activity this weekend to be able to get them over the hump on the signatures that they need.
Now, you mentioned a tip line also
Yes, yes.
to let people know when you see a petitioner out someplace that you can call this tip line and somebody will come out with a stop abortion, decline to sign sign and be able to talk to people the way you did at that farmer's market. So what is that? What is that
It's
number?
417-413-4134.
And Gabe has taken down the notes. We're going to publish that as well. And that's for anywhere in the state. That's a Springfield
anywhere
number.
in the state. Yeah,
That's anywhere in the state.
This is happening in every corner of the state.
What's the number again?
It's 417-413-4134.
I will put that in our social media.
Yes, we'll publish this on our social media platform so people have that.
Interestingly, the abortion industry has gotten a hold of our tip line and have called our tip line and tried to flood it with false information.
Wow. Just to spread you out.
And they have said some of the most vile and disgusting things that you can imagine to our office staff that are taking these tips are hearing the most vile things that you can imagine. It's just awful.
That does not surprise me, though.
Well,
At all.
I have another hot take. This movement is demonic. And I think it's expressed in the way people
If you heard some of the
advocate
things
for it.
that are on that line, you would say exactly the same
spiritual
thing.
warfare.
It's demonic.
It is.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a week left for the deadline.
Right.
The fact that I'm not saying that I'm sensing panic on the other side, but clearly there's concern on the other side because they're ramping up, which tells me they haven't hit the numbers that they wanted to hit at this point.
We're making that assumption because of the urgency that they're showing, but we don't know. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
We'll know on May 5th
So
or sometime right after that.
So somebody may say, well, boy, that's a little bit of trouble to go get my thing notarized to have my signature withdrawn, but it's worth it, especially if it's that close.
Yeah, you can go to the UPS store and get your thing notarized. I mean, it's very simple to get. Your next door neighbor might have a notary.
Yeah. And then let's give out your all's website,
MissouriLife.org.
MissouriLife.org. All right, Steve Rupp, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate this.
Thank you,
Let's talk again soon, probably maybe right before the deadline too. Let's do it again.
We're available.
All right, 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A combat veteran with 2 bronze medals, a father of 4, and a constitutional conservative powerhouse. Come and hear Attorney General Andrew Bailey up close and in person. Picture this, the crowd's buzzing, vibes electric, as he steps up to bat on Thursday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. He hit a home run with removing a failed circuit attorney and continues to fight for law and order like no other. Put May 2nd on your calendar now and go to stlouisrepublicans.com for details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Missouri education officials must be bad poker players. They keep doubling down on the same bad bet. Public school students haven't been reading or doing math at their grade level for way too long. Last year, a horrifying 40% were regarded as not college or career ready after high school. Many states have adopted school choice. Iowa, Oklahoma, and Arkansas all provide money so families can choose the public or private school that works for them. And Kansas has one of the strongest public school choice programs in the nation. Nearly every family in Missouri is given exactly 2 choices for their children's education. They're assigned public school or learning online. That's it. Our neighbors trust their parents to choose the right school for their kids. Missouri doesn't. So enrollment is already shrinking. That will mean fewer high school graduates, college students, and workers. A bad bet indeed. Check out our 2024 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward at ShowMeInstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Does your life insurance plan include living benefits, hearing, diabetic supplies, teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones? Larry Connors here. I suggest you call Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Call 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
Another night slowly closes in, and I feel so.
I win on Name This Tune.
Yeah, you sure do.
Hey, real quick, guys. We're going to post that conversation we just had here in a couple hours.
Yeah.
On the News Talk STL podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to that, please do that. I'm telling you, this is important.
And in a few minutes, I'm actually going to put up the information specifically on their website, the number you can call for the tip line, and just kind of how you can do your part.
So once that's posted, please share it. So when you post that, when Gabe posts that on our social media, please share it. When that podcast comes out, please share it. You can send it on email. You can post it on your social media. You can actually just hit forward and text it to anybody you want.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get that out there because that was a really good how-to from Steve.
Yes, absolutely.
On how we can really win this in the trenches without getting into confrontations with people because I know a lot of people don't want that. So please get that information out there. But otherwise, you know what? It is 7:50-ish. On Friday, so you know what that means.
It's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you say.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Devil.
There's only way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
I've heard of flights being delayed due to mechanical problems, missing personnel, and weather, but this is a first with airmen on a Florida Air Force base finding a 10-foot alligator between the wheels of an airplane.
What?
Hell no.
You can't take off with that there.
No. This was where?
This was the MacDill Air Force Base in Hillsborough County, Florida. Now, they posted photos to Facebook showing the gator that made its way to the runway on Monday and crawled between the wheels of a plane's landing gear. Quote, our newest toothy airman has been relocated to a more suitable environment off base. Special thanks to FWC for the assist, the post said, referring to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, which was summoned to the scene to relocate the gator to the nearby Hillsborough River.
Oh, my goodness. So reason for the delay, dinosaur.
Yeah, exactly. The dinosaur came on the runway and said he wanted to cuddle up to to the airplane. I guess the wheels were warm, and he.
Wow.
Is it just me, or are there alligator stories popping up everywhere?
I was thinking the same thing. I am
yeah.
seeing them all over the place.
I think Florida development is draining swamps, and the gators are deciding not to move. I think that's what's happening.
Alligator sprawl.
Alligator sprawl. That's it. They're your neighbors. In our second story here, an animal rescue group in Connecticut posted on social media about coming to the rescue of a pair of drunk vultures.
No, God, please, no.
The worst kind of vultures.
The worst kind of vultures. I mean, you got your regular vultures, you got your turkey vultures, and then you got your wild turkey vultures.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yes, a place called Hope said in a Facebook post that the, quote, dynamic duo had been dumpster diving and ended up eating something that was fermented enough to cause severe intoxication. That's one of the perils of being a carrion animal, I guess. The rescue said the vultures were initially thought to be seriously ill, but testing confirmed they were merely too drunk to fly.
So what do they do? Is like touch your wing to your beak? I mean, do you have to? I mean,
they did a field sobriety test for the vultures, and then determined that they were too intoxicated to proceed.
Walk the line in the middle of the street.
Walk the line, and they were just doing this.
Oh my goodness! I saw a video of a squirrel that got into some walnuts or some sort of fruit that had fermented some pears or something, and the squirrel was drunk.
Oh yes, drunk animals are the most hilarious.
It was. I know that's cruel, but it happened in nature, so
exactly.
It was funny.
Yes, I mean that happens at places. Now, quote, they only needed fluids and to be tucked in overnight and fed a big breakfast the next day. The Post said the vultures were released back into the wild and successfully rejoined their colony. So
they told the rest of the colony, I am never doing that again.
You guys will never believe the encounter I had with foreign alien beings. Is like, dude, you were drunk. Shut up.
Sure, Carl. You said that last time too.
All right, Carl. Eat your dead squirrel and shut up. And now in our last story, residents in a suburb of Cape Town, South Africa had a brush with the wild when they encountered a hippopotamus wandering the streets.
Isn't that special?
Grassy Park residents captured photos and videos when the hippo broke through a fence at the Rendezvous Nature Reserve and went wandering through residential streets just after midnight last Saturday. The Cape of Good Hope SPCA Wildlife Department said police and Quebec Rangers were able to herd the hippo back to the reserve. Thankfully, there were no injuries reported. I imagine the construction of stronger fencing will commence shortly.
I would think so. Hippos, I think, are the most dangerous animals in Africa. Actually.
They
kill more They kill more people than anybody else.
They really are. They really are dangerous. Now, I'm all for being welcoming to new neighbors, but when it comes to sharing my hood with one of the deadliest animals on the planet, you know what I'm saying.
Because the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Devil.
There's only way to be sure.
Satan, not today. Amen.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund
illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
Brought to you in part by Modern Weapons Systems in Fenton.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A measure of inflation closely watched by the Fed remained uncomfortably high last month. Prices up 0.3% February to March. That was the same as in the previous month. And it was the third straight month that the index has exceeded the Fed's 2% inflation target. Measured from a year ago, prices rose 2.7% in the month of March. Another day in court for former President Trump in New York City, and while it's preventing him from being on the campaign trail, at least he gets to go behind the mic outside the courtroom.
This is a trial that should have never happened. This is a case that should have never been filed. And it was really an incredible day. Open your eyes. And we can't let this continue to happen to our country. On another matter, the economy has just been reported to be doing very badly. The stock market's way down.
The former president pleading not guilty to falsifying business records. The U.S. Secretary of State on a 3-day visit to Communist China.
Antony Blinken's discussions started with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and then Beijing's Public Security Minister, who said Blinken would see President Xi Jinping, a meeting that had been expected but not previously announced. A State Department official then confirmed that Blinken would meet the president before leaving the country late on Friday. Talks between the two countries have increased in recent months, even as differences have grown. Blinken and Wang underscored the importance of keeping lines of communication open, but they also lamented that divisions were becoming more serious in nature. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And Blinken has now met with Chinese President Xi. Blinken says there will be more cooperation on fighting synthetic drugs. They also discussed China's support of Russia in the war in Ukraine. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures up 42 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Thank the pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid-70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a local and family-owned business dedicated to providing consumers with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to make customers feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. They're proud to carry products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. Missouri Wild Alchemy, now serving recreational customers 21 and above, as well as patients. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit MissouriWild.com. That's MissouriWild.com.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up!
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
It's Friday!
Okay, we've got the information up for Missouri Right to Life.
Yep.
We've posted it on social media. I just put that in the comments or the chat of Rumble as well. So also the notary thing.
Yeah.
Just a quick update. Somebody had sent in a message and said, "Hey, your library probably has them. A lot of places, your workplace has them. Now, whether or not they'll do some political is a whole other thing. But there's another resource.
Yeah, now we're talking about the process to withdraw your signature.
Right.
So if you mistakenly signed one of these petitions, you regret it, there's a process by which you can go through to do that. Missouri Right to Life, MissouriLife.org has the process. But part of the process is getting a notary to witness your signature.
Yeah, and you don't have to, but it helps.
It makes it more a more solid case. And my wife has offered her services as a notary. So if you are in need, contact me directly, Gabe at Newstalk STL, and then we will meet you wherever you need us to, and have your letter notarized.
Okay. And also, Allison on Facebook mentioned DMV offices may have notaries.
They may have.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that. Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of places to do that, and like Steve Rupp from Missouri Right to Life just said, it's not 100% necessary. But they can't contest it if it's notarized.
That's a big thing.
And I'm looking at the flyer that he just handed us, which they're handing out everywhere, which you can find at MissouriLife.com and or .org. MissouriLife.org, and you can print them up. And I'm looking at the back of this to withdraw your signature. It's really not that complicated.
Right.
Now, here's the thing: if you have not signed it, you don't do this.
Right. You're just going to gum up the works.
Right. But if you did sign it, like I got to tell you, not a whole lot of, there's not much that stuns me anymore. But when he said that there were petitioners outside of a Catholic mass who said, sign this to ban abortion, and they were full on lying about it.
Straight up.
Those are the tactics that are used. Those are desperate tactics. So with a week to go, understand if they will pull out all the stops. If they say, hey, activists around the country, we're behind, we need $5 million right now, they'll get it.
Yeah, that's true. There are organizations, out-of-state organizations that are very much willing to put up all kinds of dollars. Currently 80% of their funding for this initiative petition is coming from out-of-state, and that was an independent review, wasn't it? Yeah,
it is. Oh, yeah. The media even admitted that's the case on this. Okay, and by the way, I'm looking at the Rumble chat box. I mean, you guys are watching Facebook and Twitter and everything, but I'm seeing a lot of people who are saying, "Yep, I saw him here. I saw him here." One person said, "I was at a QT and they were going up to people at pumps." At the gas pumps. And so that's how aggressive they're going to be. So you don't have to argue with them. You don't have to convince them you're right and they're wrong. All you have to do is just decline to sign. No thanks, not interested. Have a nice day. All you need to do, but the important thing is to let everybody else know the same thing.
Steve mentioned that they were being paid like $35 an hour, which is whoa.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money. And I think they're given bonuses if they hit signature targets, which is true. Which is one of the reasons why they will do almost anything to get as many signatures as they can.
Okay, so that information is up in up on all of our social media. Okay, let me come back to this homeless thing that's kind of enthralled, I think, a lot of St. Louis for a couple reasons. We're talking about these Sudanese immigrants who are clearly crazy.
Yes.
Quite mentally ill. I mean, and they set up this you use the best term, shanty.
They set up a shanty, yes.
With tarps and stolen grocery carts and
maybe some discarded wood.
Right, discarded wood, discarded milk carts, whatever. And this was at Chippewa and Spring.
Mm-hmm.
And
by Chippewa and Spring, we don't mean the house at Chippewa and Spring.
No.
We mean the corner.
Right.
where the sewer grate is.
Right.
As the traffic is speeding by on Chippewa.
Mm-hmm.
And they set this up, and there's a couple things to me that have been fascinating about this. One is the city's unbelievable incompetence.
Mm-hmm.
And the city government, which wants to overregulate every business.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Wants to put cameras in to monitor your driving and walking, wants to take away your second right, that basically says, no, we get to run your lives.
They want to control your face.
They want to control your face. They literally have said for 3 years, nothing we can do about it.
We have no power to.
These two crazy people from Sudan are just taking over an intersection. We just don't know what to do.
We offered them help and they said no.
Yeah, we have no power here. I mean, so
so stupid.
It shows you how stupid. And this is some level. I'm not going to say a virtue signaling, but it's clearly a collision of virtue signals.
Yes.
That's happening. So they've chosen to leave the crazy squatters alone instead of serving the people who are saying they're violating our neighborhood.
Well, and also health ordinances,
everything.
Loitering ordinances, probably noise sometimes.
Probably.
It's like all kinds of things are being violated. Remember, just always recall, these people are the same people who will cite you for your long grass. But they're okay with the shanty set over the sewer grate that they're using as an open air toilet.
So last night or yesterday sometime, they finally went in there and tore it down and threw it in a dump truck and just drove off with it.
Finally.
And apparently this army of social workers and police and interpreters showed up and had to negotiate, and we mean it this time, and finally got rid of them. And the city is quick to point out, they're like, well, we're helping them with housing. And so, which means that taxpayers, you're now paying to take care of somebody probably for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Because they don't want the embarrassment of this. And I think it's really easy to get mad at City Hall and the incompetence and the Tashara Jones administration and the city departments and all these sorts of things that have simply chosen to allow these people to run over the top of everybody else. I mean, seriously, two crazy people who have been here for years and don't speak the language, because they've set up little homeless things. People have known about them for 10 years or something like that.
Oh, really? Even
down in the South City area. I mean, this thing is just the one they stayed at for 3 years.
Yeah, it's been going on for quite a few years because for us, it was on our way to church every Sunday when we'd be going to Kings Highway in Chippewa. We would drive right by it every weekend, and we would constantly look at it wondering, well, when's the city going to do something here? How come the neighbors haven't tried to get this thing resolved?
Yeah.
Right.
And it just kept going on and on.
And so maybe since we're doing unsolicited hot takes today, first of all, it's not my job to provide them with anything.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
There are nonprofits and ministries and things like that offer those, but they've turned them down for years. At some point, you're the nuisance by choice. I get it. You're crazy, but that's still your choice. There's no possible way even crazy people can't see that they are infringing on other people. But at the same time, I'm going to victim blame a little bit here. I'm going to victim shame a little bit, especially those homes right there at Spring and Chippewa, right there, who've been affected by the smell. They've said there are times they didn't feel safe. There's one family says we can't even go out on our front porch because of the smell and because of the potential for conflict.
It's probably vermin issue now.
Yeah. At some point, when are you responsible for not simply going up there and saying, I'm shoveling this into the back of a pickup truck, I'm ripping it down myself, I'm running you off?
Yes.
And so the quotes and the TV stories in the newspaper, it's always like, well, we're just concerned about the people. We just hope that no, that's not my priority. If it were my neighborhood,
no,
my priority would be get them out of here.
Exactly.
And I don't care what happens to them. That's my hot take. After 3 years, these are crazy people who do not care about you. So, I mean, maybe in an ethereal sense, maybe they're supposed to care about them and everybody else.
Sure.
But this is your home, your homestead, your investment, your property, your family. You're part of the community. The fact that you did not take action when the city would not.
After 3 years.
After 3 years, the city says, no, I don't know what we can do. I don't know. When the city refused to do that, you all should have stood up and said, well, then we're going to get rid of them.
Yes.
And you didn't do it for 3 years. So it's, very big part of this is the city's fault. Some of it's your fault, too.
I think this goes back to our philosophical understanding of rights and responsibilities. You know, the thing is, the government is who we hire, we as individuals hire, and borrow out our power to in order to do things in the most efficient way. You know, as best as we can. So. What we'll tend to do then is we'll say, well, it's their responsibility, the government's. But no. Actually, it's your responsibility. You simply borrowed out your power to the government to act on your behalf occasionally.
You've hired it.
You've hired them out.
Yeah.
That's why we pay taxes. But the thing is, when they fail to do their job, now the responsibility is still on you.
Yeah.
Like we are the basis of the existence of the government and the protection of our own rights.
Yeah. And now I understand the argument that, well, hey, it's St. Louis City, they're super duper left wing. They would probably prosecute you for trying to do that. Bring it on.
That's a risk. It is
Bring
a
it
risk.
on.
Yes.
I mean, you should be able to say, okay, what's worth taking that risk for? Can you imagine if the city said, well, we're going to prosecute the people who rip down the stuff that's blocking the intersection?
Yeah.
And I mean, it just should have been done for 3 years. Everybody's at fault.
Yes.
Everybody.
Well, and
is at fault.
here's the other thing too. If you do it right, they're not going to catch you.
No.
They're not out there monitoring anything. If you took one Saturday afternoon and you got a dozen people together, and you threw all that crap in a dumpster or a truck or something like that and drove it off, who's going to tell on you?
Right.
And then when they show up and it's an empty intersection and they say, hey, what happened to the squatters? You shrug your shoulders.
Yep. Don't know. Don't care. They're not here.
Yeah. And it's like, wait, did you do something that we're going to be mad about? Prove it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate myself.
Exactly. Now get off my front
Screw
porch.
you.
Yeah.
And so the people living in the quarter are going to be hosing off that area probably for the entire weekend,
Oh,
probably hoping these thunderstorms that could move through the area come through there and wash off that that intersection because it needs a bad bath because that smell's going to stick around for a while.
They need gallons of bleach.
Oh, my goodness. Do they ever.
Maybe they'll get a discount over at Costco.
No kidding. No kidding. All right. 314-912-1019. Am I being too hard on the community there, the neighborhood there? Everybody loves it when we beat up on the city and the government, and we should because they failed for 3 years in this case. And by the way, if you work for the city or you're sympathetic to it, make the case that there was nothing they could do. Please do.
We're saying dereliction of duty. What do you say?
Right. But I'm also, if you think I'm being too hard on the neighbors there, let me know that too, because I think at some point it's their fault for not taking action when the government won't. All right. Let's dump some news on you right here. Got some thoughts on it? Let me know. 314-912-1019. It's 1019 941 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk on this Flashback Friday.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. You know, whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling it's like laser guided precision. Well, yeah, they have lasers, but they don't do that for everything. Of course, it's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Hi, this is Ron Clutho. Join me for Groovy Grooves every Saturday to hear songs like this and memories that will take you back to a groovier place and time. Be sure to check out the playlist at newstalkstl.com for more Groovy Grooves.
And now for something completely different.
Groovy Grooves with Ron Clutho, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
News Talk STL.
First thing in the morning and pretty much all day.
Live and local. 1019 and 94.1. News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
Please, please tell me now. Please, please tell me now. Please, please tell me now. Please, please tell me now.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. You know, they got all the news. The morning news stuff.
Man, there's been a heck of a variety of music today.
Please tell me now, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. What the news is.
What's in the news?
All right. A Hollywood Creeps conviction is overturned. The Cards and the Battlehawks both on the road this weekend. Let's dump some news on you here. 8:21 right now. All right. The hearing's about to resume in New York regarding the Donald Trump so-called hush money case. But there was another case being argued involving Donald Trump, and this was at the U.S. Supreme Court. Those arguments taking place in Trump's claim of absolute immunity from criminal prosecution at the Supreme Court on Thursday. One of the former president's attorneys, Will Scharf, he's been on this show a number of times, told Fox News' The Story with Martha McCallum that he thinks the arguments went in Donald Trump's favor.
It certainly seems that the Supreme Court wants to ensure that the system we end up with is a system that preserves presidential prerogatives, that preserves the ability of the president to respond decisively to the situations that arise during the course of a presidency.
Okay, one of the lawyers for special counsel Jack Smith, who was arguing that Donald Trump does not get absolute immunity and can be prosecuted for things that happened while he was president, this is part of his arguments before the Supreme Court.
The existing system is a carefully balanced framework. It protects the president, but not at the high constitutional cost of blanket criminal immunity. That has been the understanding of every president from the framing through Watergate and up to today.
And we talked about this with Susie Moore a little bit earlier, so be sure to check out the News Talk STL podcast because that's going to be posted later on today. Susie, of course, everybody knows her from RedState. She's also an accomplished attorney as well, and her take on this is that there's probably going to be something in the ruling that everybody's not going to like. Mm-hmm. We don't know what that's going to look like. It's almost impossible to predict.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I want to caution everybody, because for the left, this is about getting Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. It is protect Big Bad Orange. Or it is go get Big Bad Orange Man.
Yes.
For those in the MAGA movement and those on the Republican side, big R Republican side, it's about protect Big Good Orange Man.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it is. So everybody is looking at this as this is about Donald Trump.
It's the Donald Trump case.
This is before the U.S. Supreme Court, and it involves the scope of the executive branch. I am telling you, it is about Donald Trump, but it is not about Donald Trump only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is much bigger than Donald Trump. It is much bigger than Republican or Democrat. So the ruling here matters to the country's future and how the presidency, what kind of latitude a president will have in his or her behaviors and actions, and also what kind of threats to their power they are going to have in the future.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that a ruling that a lot of folks would see as really, really positive because it would throw out all the cases against Donald Trump, a ruling that wide could also provide cover for Joe Biden when his little influence peddling scheme really comes to light. Maybe even after he's out of office, and you're like, nope, presidential immunity, sorry, and then he gets off scot-free, him and his crackhead son.
So here's what I would encourage everybody to do when you're thinking about what do you think about the case, because I think a lot of people say, well, I want the court to do this because this is how I feel about Donald Trump. I love him, I hate him, whatever the case is. Here's what I would encourage you to do. Whatever your opinion of Donald Trump is, if you hate Donald Trump, then look at it from, okay, who would be a president that I would absolutely love, but could be in the same situation? How would I want the court to rule?
Right.
If you love Donald Trump, okay, well, what if there's a president there I hate, but how would I want the court to rule? So do that mental exercise on this particular thing right there, because it's much bigger than Donald Trump.
The flip test makes a really good self-check.
Yeah.
As well as just looking at things outside of your control, because it really does force you to really look at things a little bit more objectively, or challenge your own biases.
Which is a good discipline we should be in anyway.
You should do it every single time.
Right. Okay, so another court case, and I heard this. I think I was on the way back home yesterday after the show, and the news was breaking about this. The 2020 rape conviction of Harvey Weinstein in New York was overturned.
That's wild.
Now, he wasn't acquitted.
Right. That's different.
They didn't declare him not guilty, but they overturned that rape conviction.
Forcing a retrial.
Right. Exactly. That's what's going to happen here. There was a press conference with some of the victims, including actress Ashley Judd, and she had this to say, at least in part.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal. And our institutions betray survivors of male sexual violence.
Okay, so here's what happened is the New York Appeals Court said that the judge in the original trial where Weinstein was convicted erred in allowing witnesses who were testifying about things that were not at issue in the court. So witnesses against Harvey Weinstein were asked about things that he was not being accused of in those criminal charges.
Right.
Not saying that he didn't do it.
Right.
They're just saying that wasn't directly related to those charges. And the judge or the appeals court said the judge should not have allowed the prosecution to call those witnesses because it was not directly related to those charges. So in some ways, it was a technical ruling.
Yeah, it's a mishandling of the process.
And so they have said that basically you go back to square one and you have to retry him.
Right.
Now, of course, there's probably going to be some sort of plea deal that's negotiated as well. Maybe he gets a plea deal. Maybe they go back to trial because, as Susie said, the evidence is pretty overwhelming against him. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean he's being let out of jail.
Right.
Because he was also convicted of rape in another court case in California.
And he's serving that sentence right now.
Exactly. So the New York case, he was sentenced to 23 years in prison. In the California case, he was sentenced to 16 years in prison. So he's still serving his 16-year sentence. He's staying behind bars. And then what will happen, and it's probably going to be another trial.
I'm not sure if you would know this, but was he serving those sentences concurrently or consecutively?
They would be. No, they would be concurrently because they're two separate things.
Okay, right.
So one,
separate jurisdictions, right. If it was the same jurisdiction, the judge could have decided to make it.
So essentially, it was 23 years, but the guy is 60-some years old.
Yeah.
So
if and when he gets out, he won't have much life.
No, he won't be able. Let's just say for a variety of reasons, he won't be able to do what he did.
Yeah.
In the first case. Okay. President Biden proposing an over 40% income tax rate on the wealthy. As Republicans defend, of course, the tax cuts that were put into place during the Trump administration. On Fox Business Network's The Evening Edit with Elizabeth McDonald, Congressman Dan Muser, he is a Republican out of Pennsylvania. He's also on the Financial Services Committee. He was asked to comment on the president's tax and spending plans, and he says, you know what it's going to do? It's going to add to inflation. You know what it's not going to do? It's not going to help the middle class.
This administration is tax and spend on steroids. I mean, look at his next year's budget. Look what they've done so far. If it wasn't for a Republican majority, they would have spent another $1 trillion this year.
And President Biden says the rich need to pay what?
Their fair share.
Fair share. You didn't even need multiple guesses on that.
No, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, and the capital gains tax targets Americans who make more than $1 million a year, which is a huge amount of money. here, but in other areas, it's not as much as you would think. And the way that they're proposing some of these capital gains taxes is really, really dangerous. In some areas, some people on the left are actually wanting to have you pay taxes on capital gains, even if you have not cashed them in.
Which is it's disturbing on so many levels.
It's really, really, really bad. And if you say, well, I don't have $1 million, doesn't matter to me. You got an IRA?
Mm-hmm.
You got a 401k?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this could affect you.
Oh gosh, yes. Well, and here's the reality. When we look at the numbers game, the share of the tax burden on all of America increased for the richest folks under the Trump tax cut regime. Mm-hmm. So as much as people want to say, oh, this is a giveaway from the government to the rich, no. It's simply reshaping the way taxes are done, and that actually benefits the economy and society at large. Remember when households had gained like $5,000 a year in spending capability and things like, and they were doing all these analysis, and jobs were going, the economy was humming, and all that good stuff. That was because of the tax cuts for the rich.
Yeah, and here's the thing:
say.
I also hate the idea that we're going to punish you for being successful.
Gosh, yes, it's tragic. Actually,
yeah. I want to incentivize everybody to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want.
Yep.
Okay, Cardinals start a 3-game series with the Mets in New York today. Miles Mikolas is going to start for the Redbirds. First pitch is at 6:10, but you're probably not going to see the game. Want to know why?
Why?
Because it's on Apple Plus.
No,
it's that stupid Apple Plus thing. And the UFL's highest scoring team, which would be
the St. Louis Battlehawks.
They are on the road this weekend. They play the DC Defenders in Washington. The kickoff is at 11 a.m. on Sunday. Battlehawks are 3-1. They lead the XFL conference. The Defenders are 2-2 in last place in the conference, but that just shows you how tight the XFL conference is. That game's on ESPN, so you should be able to see that one.
Let's go.
And a little Duran Duran on Flashback Friday.
That was requested too.
1983, which I think was the beginning of their career with this song. Actually released as a single by itself and then added to an album. That's how early it was in their career.
Okay.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Please tell me now. Is there something I should know?
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Periods of rain and thunderstorms today. A couple of stronger storms possible if the ingredients come together just right. Otherwise, lots of clouds, breezy with a high in the low to mid-70s. Slight chance of a storm overnight tonight as we drop to 66 for the low. And then tomorrow, lots of dry time Saturday. It's warmer, breezy, more humid. 30% chance of a storm, a high of 84. A better chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms Sunday evening into the overnight hours Sunday night. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
A new poll shows a majority of Americans support mass deportation of illegal immigrants. It's amazing what an invasion will do to change hearts and minds. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Something amazing is happening in education. Students are inspired and engaged. That's because school districts consulted with CDW, who designed modern classroom solutions with pre-configured HP devices, making learning more accessible, secure, and immersive. Now when students study topics like elephants, it feels like elephants are there with them. HP and CDW. Make amazing happen. Learn more at cdw.com/HPPSG.
Folks, I never thought I'd see the day when the majority of Americans support the mass deportation of illegal immigrants, but according to a new Axios Vibe survey by the Harris poll, that day has come. According to the poll, 51% of those polled say they would support the deportation of illegal immigrants, and yes, that includes 42% of Democrats. The one silver lining in all this failed Biden presidency is that perhaps it had to get this bad for people to wake up. And I give direct credit for this opinion shift to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who, through his busing of illegals to blue cities made the border invasion unavoidable. If re-elected, Donald Trump has pledged to begin the biggest mass deportation effort in American history. And if he accomplishes that goal, well, he belongs on Mount Rushmore. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
After 50 years, I was able to kill Roe v. Wade.
It's a border bloodbath, and it's destroying our country.
We're going to win this race.
And we won't stand for it.
68% of black voters saying that they're ready to vote for Joe Biden. Hispanic men favoring Trump over Biden. That's a real problem for the Biden campaign.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one.
For conservative talk. News Talk STL and newstalkstl.com.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever delayed making a decision or an investment or a purchase because you just don't want to deal with that? And by that, I mean people who are going to give you a high-pressure sales pitch just because they need to make a sale and they don't care what's right for you. I've done that. I have sat through some of those appointments and they make me really, really mad. And usually the salesperson ends not liking me very much because I don't react very well to that. When you talk to my friends at Window World, you are not going to experience that. Mike Ferguson here from my friends at Window World. They are simply the best for less. And I would say, well, they're the best for less, so they don't have to use those tactics. But when I was talking to John, who owns the Window World here in St. Louis, just last week, actually, he made it very clear. He goes, we don't do that because we don't want to do that. It's not just that they don't have to do that. It's that we don't want to do that. That sucks. That's not a good way to do business. It's not honest. It's not treating people right. We don't do that. Now, they do want to come and visit and take the measurements and give you a custom quote for what they can do. But it's no high-pressure situation. It's not something that they're going to say, we're not leaving until we come to a deal. They're not doing that. They're going to show you what they do. They're going to answer all your questions. If it's the right thing for you, then they'll go ahead and give you the best price, and you're going to spend less money on Window World windows than you will on other windows. But if it's not, you say, you know what, we need to think this over. Give us a couple days. Fine, great. Have a great day. And they're going to leave you with the flyers and the folder, and you can call them with any other questions that you have. That's just how they roll. Give them a call today at 314-993-1800. Now, Window World windows are superior to the other windows. They are double strength glass. They're one of only 2 windows in the world with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. They exceed all Energy Star ratings requirements, which means they're going to keep your home more energy efficient, and they have a lifetime warranty, so you're never going to have to pay to replace them. Even if they break, even if something happens, even if a hailstorm throws a massive hailstone at your home. So they're going to improve the look of your home, the security of your home, the thermal efficiency of your home, and also your budget in that you're never going to have to replace them because of that lifetime warranty. So give them a call today, 314-993. Get that no obligation in-home estimate. See what kind of people you are doing business with, because they're from St. Louis too, and they don't want that reputation that the fly-by-night companies have. And remember, you're going to spend less money than you would spend if you just went to that home improvement store and did a generic one. Once again, 314-993-1800. Tell them you heard Mike talking about them on the radio.
To all our incredible supporters, we at the David Dorn Foundation say thank you. Your 5-star online reviews that you recently posted are beacons of encouragement on our mission to assist first responders. And a shout out to Steve Katraba, who reviewed us with these powerful words. The Dorn Foundation continues to fill a need in the public safety community and thereby to the public. Steve, your words are more than a review. They show the impact we're making for first responders. To read more strong reviews, Google the Dorn Foundation now.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL, Haunted Garage, and we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right, it's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
Download the News Talk STL app.
News Talk STL.
Streaming live on the mobile app.
It is awesome.
And listen anytime.
Love the News Talk STL app.
Anywhere.
Hey, this is Rob Carter. Join me weeknights at 8 p.m. as I challenge our politicians, expose the political press, and analyze pop culture. It's the Rob Carter Show weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Now let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Whose cover is this?
Cover?
Or is this just a live
this
version?
is Billy Joel.
Yeah, is this just a live version of it?
Yeah, the cheering sound was part of the track.
This is actually the single version.
Oh, this is the single version.
Of
Okay.
We Didn't Start
See,
the Fire.
I've only ever seen the MTV video version of it, which is a little different. It didn't have the same sort of percussion in the middle, in the beginning.
You're right. You're right. It has much more subdued, I guess.
Yeah, it's a more
fade
subdued
in
track.
intro. You're right. Whereas the single for radio, had a little more prominent beginning. You're right.
Billy Joel on Flashback Friday.
Yep, that's right. If there's one song I think that could use an updated version, it's this one.
This is it.
Because this covered, 40 years of activity between 64 and 94?
Came out in 89.
30 years. 89, okay. So 69 to 89, they covered 40 years of events, major world events.
That would be 20 years, 69. But
Sorry,
you're
20 years. No, you're... Yeah, 69 to
89.
89, yes, 20 years. So the last 20 years, 2020 or 20...
They got another
2004 to 2024. There's
a lot. There's a lot
of
that went
stuff
on.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That would have been interesting if he had done an updated version for his new album. I wonder if anyone suggested that
Right?
to him.
Yeah, a little 20-year span.
I have read that he doesn't really like this song that much.
I heard that too.
Yeah. I think it's one of the most cleverly written songs that's come out in years.
Absolutely.
Because not only did he do everything in chronological order, he managed to keep it in cadence and keep it rhyming.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's one of the better written songs, and he's a brilliant songwriter.
Absolutely. He covered 90 events or something ridiculous like that.
Okay, real quick, I just got this from Mark Harder from the St. Louis County Council.
Okay.
If you drive a Kia, or I think Hyundai is included
Yes.
with this as well, but
Yep.
Kia America is having a couple more of those software upgrade events, which are free. It's paid for by the company.
Okay.
So they had those flaws that make your vehicles more vulnerable to theft.
Right.
Right, more susceptible to
Right.
being stolen.
So you can drive up. You don't need an appointment this weekend, and that gets fixed by people who are either from the company, the car company, or gone through their training and they're approved to do it.
Wow.
So the anti-theft software upgrade event is going to happen. There's two of them, Friday and Saturday. So today and tomorrow. It just started about 45 minutes ago, and it's going to go until 6 p.m. today, and then 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow at Busch Stadium. And then Sunday from 6 a.m. until 3 p.m. at the Chesterfield Mall.
Which is where the last one was, I believe.
It was. That I think it was in the old Venture area, which Venture hasn't been there for 25 years or wherever it was. JCPenney, I don't know. If you're like, well, which part of the Chesterfield Mall? Well, it's empty. Just drive a circle. You'll eventually find it. And so you just drive up, and they're able to plug into what they need to plug in. And also they will be, I think if your situation, depending on your situation, they may actually give you one of those physical club anti-theft things.
Wow.
As well. If there's something okay, in this situation, here's the upgrade, but you may need this as well. So it is once again, 100% complete, completely free. It takes about 20 minutes. Don't need to register. Don't need to make an appointment. Just drive up and however long you wait is based on how many people are there. But these things move really, really fast because it is a software upgrade is what it is. They don't have to do any mechanical work on that. So once again, Busch Stadium right now until 6 p.m. today, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow, and then Sunday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Chesterfield Mall.
Yeah, and this looks like a repeat of an event they had in October,
Yep.
and that covered a number of Kia models, and I don't think Hyundai models were included in this particular one.
Yeah.
And the model years run approximately from 2010 to 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Soul, the Optima, the Forte, Rio, Sedona, Seltos, Sorrentos, Sportage, and K5 are all included.
Yep. So for what years again?
2010 to 2022.
Oh, And the sportages were included?
Yes.
Ooh, I made
the,
run out
the
there.
2011 to 2022 sportage is included.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, mine was done at the dealer, so I know mine's been upgraded.
There you go.
So I'm
Yeah,
good.
yep.
Okay, if you have any questions, you can Google search it, or you can call Councilman Mark Harder's office because they're kind of spearheading this in the county. Just look him up, but it's 314-615-5443, and I know people aren't going to remember that because I said it real fast on the radio. But if you get in touch with Councilman Mark Harder's office, they've got all of the information for you on there. Okay, I found something, and it's one of those things where we don't have a huge amount of information on it, but it's enough to I almost hurt myself this morning rolling my eyes.
Yes, the eye rolling strain is something that happens to us a lot.
Speaking of St. Louis County?
It is in St. Louis County.
Okay.
So the Board of Aldermen in Clayton, and I found this on Channel 4's website, and we don't really have a lot of new. I mean, things are generally kind of quiet in Clayton, you know. But they are now apparently in the early stages of discussing a possible ban on all gas-powered lawn equipment.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, in Clayton?
In Clayton, yeah.
Where all of the lawns are manicured to the nines?
My wife and I, because I live in Richmond Heights, and we've taken walks from our house through Clayton. That's how close I am to Clayton. And you aren't kidding, man. Those lawns are perfectly manicured.
They look like golf courses out there.
And so I don't know.
That takes a lot of gas-powered effort to accomplish.
So your edge trimmers, you know, obviously your lawn mowers, your leaf blowers, all of these sort of things. So I don't know where they are in the process. Literally, everything I've told you is what we know, and that's all that was in the Channel 4. I mean, the Channel 4 story was a paragraph and a half. It's literally 3 sentences. It just says, whether it's the lawnmower or a leaf blower, most lawn care items use gas to get going. The Board of Aldermen in Clayton is discussing a possible ban on all gas-powered lawn equipment. The board held a discussion earlier this week on either further restricting the use of gas-powered equipment or getting rid of it completely. You will get my leaf blower when you fry it from my cold, dead hands.
What's funny, though, is that the homeowners out there, they don't own any of this equipment. They hire somebody to do this. Now, the thing is, if the people they hire are like, it would be cost ineffective to continue doing service in that area and have to replace all of my equipment or supplement all of my equipment with electric, then you better get comfortable with the idea of going to Home Depot yourself and getting that battery powered leaf blower and taking care of your own dang lawn.
Okay, let me just put it out there. This is none of the government's business which lawnmower I use.
Absolutely.
Okay? So they want you to have the little like twirly one with the rotating blades or whatever those are called, those little cylindrical ones.
Yes, from back in the 40s. If you just walk behind.
Right. And you know what? If all you have is a little, 10 by 20 front yard patch.
Oh, sure. If you got a little patch, whatever.
That's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's none of your business, City Hall, whether somebody uses a leaf blower or not. And it's stupid that they're even considering it.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of lawnmowers, a couple of days ago, Kathy was at home in the middle of the day, and she hears this yelling sound from behind our house, and a guy's going, "Help! Help! God, send somebody to help me! Help!"
Oh, no.
She was totally
invoking the Almighty.
Yeah. What's going on?
It was pretty serious. She walked out on the back stairs, looked at the little creek that we have that goes behind our house, and through the trees and the bushes, she could see that a guy was pinned underneath his riding lawnmower.
Oh, no.
It had fallen down the hill going towards the creek.
Oh, yeah.
And he was pinned under it.
Oh, my gosh.
And so she yelled out, I hear you, I'll call 911. She called. About 5 minutes later, 7 Washington City policemen showed up. That may be all of them.
Yeah, that sounds like the whole department.
I think they got excited for getting a call.
Yeah.
They were all there, spot on. And an ambulance showed up a couple of minutes later. And
was the guy okay?
Thankfully, he was okay.
He was just locked in under.
He was totally locked underneath, and it looked as though his arm was hurt. But they put him, ambulance folks and the first responders, put him on one of those boards
stretchers,
and got him calmed down, took him to the hospital. And Kathy said yesterday he was back out mowing on his riding lawnmower, and it's one of those, what do they call them, zero turn?
Oh, yeah.
So
Those are big.
She said, boy, that zero turned right into the creek.
Oh, yeah.
See,
he's going to watch the edge of his property real closely from now on. Yes.
See, this wouldn't have happened if he had the little cylindrical no power down that he just walked back and just knew he was going to take a month to cut his grass.
Yeah, I mean, it would have fallen down to the creek all by itself, but hey, they're cheap. You can get a new one.
Yeah, you can. You can get those. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Or maybe just an old push lawnmower.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the old days.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. 314-912-1019. God, that little bit of information on Clayton, just annoying. It's
gosh.
Listen,
yes.
Clayton, you're the fancy pretty people.
It's like just
you don't need the virtue signal.
Seriously, come on,
just
guys.
go to Caldi's on Demand and have your thing and look over the seminary's nice gardens and just leave people alone. That's all you got to do.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Come on.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Rosenberg, Sage Bomb, Sugar Ray, Panmunjom, Randall, the King and I, and the Catcher in the Rye. Eisenhower vaccine, England's got a new queen. Marciano, Liberace, satire, and a goodbye. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning.
Tim Jones here. I'm with Eric from Newsteaders, Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Eric, Newsteaders has been around since 1961. Tell us the story.
Well, Richard started this 62 years ago, and we've stayed a local family-owned store since then. We've actually got 3 generations of Newsteaders working in the store. Richard, his wife, his daughter, and his granddaughter, and we all love what we do. We're kind of a St. Louis family tradition, and we do a lot of unique and one-of-a-kind custom pieces, as well as repairs. There's basically nothing that we can't do, and all of our work is done on site, so you can feel secure knowing that your jewelry never leaves, which is unusual now. And we can computer generate images of custom pieces if you want to go custom. We can take that old jewelry that you're not wearing, and we can turn that into something new that you absolutely love.
Newsteaders, a St. Louis jewelry tradition since 1961. Stop by and find out why. 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, or on the internet, wowdiamonds.com for Newsteaders Fine Jewelers.
My friend, death is certain. Are you prepared? Larry Connors here. I don't want to scare you, but your funeral plans are an important conversation you need to have with your spouse, family, other loved ones. My friend Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial can help find you an affordable, final expense life insurance policy, regardless of your health condition. You could qualify up to $30,000 of lifetime coverage. Life insurance plans with Senior Memorial also offer living benefits towards hearing and diabetic supplies, access to a 24-hour teledoc service, discounts on urns, caskets, tombstones. Call my friend Benjamin at Senior Memorial and discover your legacy at 314-866-8886 or visit memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial Heritage Protection.
Hey, St. Louis, my name is Rob Carter. If you are sick and tired of the corporate news bubble, if you like unedited information free from corporate money, if you want straight talk with no script, join me weeknights from 8 to 10 p.m. on The Rob Carter Show.
Live and local, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
On Rumble, Vicky says, my daughter's Kia was fixed by Kia, then it was stolen in Kansas City anyway.
No, oh boy.
Man,
that sucks.
It's just going to make it less likely, but hey, Kansas City is still Kansas City, St. Louis is still St. Louis. Be careful there. All right, 8:53, got a few minutes left here before we turn things over to Vic Porcelli. A couple of things on these anti-Israel protests, which have obviously become violent all over the country on this. I saw a video today. One of the top ranking police officers in New York City got surrounded by these people to the point where he had to make an escape.
Oh my gosh.
A police officer.
That's crazy.
With other police officers there were so outnumbered that they had to make an escape. People just in their faces. And I think one of the most telling signs of the mindset of these, college-aged idiots, there was a young woman who was among them screaming, F you, F the pigs, all that sort of thing, reached out and tried to grab him, and a cop pushed her back, and then she was indignant and furious that he would push her back.
Yeah. It's like, I can touch you, I can grab you,
Yeah.
I can do whatever, but don't you dare.
Right.
Don't you dare come back after me.
University of Southern California canceling their graduation ceremonies, their commencement.
And this is the high school class of 2020.
Yeah, so the class of 2020 that had their high school graduation ceremonies canceled.
No homecoming dances,
Right.
no prom, no high school graduation.
Yeah. Now they're having their for many of them, they're having their college graduation canceled because of anti-Semitic bigots.
Because of their classmates.
And the enablers in the university system. Now, where was it in Florida that they're throwing a hissy fit?
Yeah, see, this is a post or a comment by the University of Florida's chapter of the Young Democratic Socialists of America.
DSA.
And they were up in arms about what their division of student life said to them. They went through the encampment, I think, that they had tried to start there, and they handed out these flyers. University of Florida header and everything, and it said allowable activities: speech, expressing viewpoints, holding signs in hands. Okay,
so you're allowed to say whatever you want to say.
You're allowed to protest. Prohibited.
That's important to the story.
That's important to the story. Now, here's the prohibitive items and activities. No amplified sound. So, you can't go out here with the bullhorns and stuff. No demonstrations inside buildings. You can't do that. No littering, no camping, no sleeping, no unmanned signs. So you can't just post them up all over the place and fill up an area with signs. No blocking egress. That means blocking people from leaving someplace or getting in something.
Yeah.
No building structures like putting up stakes and benches and tables and all that stuff.
Or stages or whatever.
Yeah, no camping, which includes tents and sleeping bags. No disruption, no threats, no violence, and no weapons. Now, the way the Young Democratic Socialists of America described this was draconian. Like, these are draconian regulations and restrictions.
Can I just double check something? Are they allowed to espouse their opinions?
Top of the page.
Got it.
Allowable activities: speech, expressing viewpoints, holding signs in hands.
Okay.
So you can do the whole protest thing.
Nothing is stopping them from making their voice heard, regardless of what they're saying.
Not at all. They can continue to call Israel, perpetuators of genocide with their signs and bloody things and all that.
I saw one of the signs in one of the news stories that referred to the final solution, which literally is a Nazi term, and from the river to the sea.
Yeah.
I mean, so they can still say all that.
They can still say every single one. They can have it all on their signs, and they can gather and do that, just not in the manner that includes all of those prohibitive things. Now, the consequences of noncompliance: individuals found responsible for engaging in prohibited activities will be trespassed from the campus. Students will receive a 3-year trespass. So that means you can't come on campus for 3 years.
Right.
And a suspension, obviously, from school. Employees will be trespassed and separated from employment.
See, this is what happens, and this is from the University of Florida system.
University of Florida.
Okay, do you know who the head of that system is now?
Who's that?
Former U.S. Senator Ben Sasse.
Aha!
So this is what happens when you have people who are conservative and have the right mindset running big things.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got Ron DeSantis and Ben Sasse at the helm here, and that's why the socialists are upset, because they can't commit violence against people without consequences.
They're big mad, clearly designed to stop our liberation zone, it said. Yes.
I'll liberate you right in the mouth, dude. I'm telling you.
Yep.
And yeah, that was a threat. You get violent with me, I'll get violent with you. So just speak your mind and let everybody judge you based on what you said. And you're an idiot.
Number 1 for live and local
conservative talk.
They always have great conversation.
News, analysis, and opinion.
It's a big case for the prosecution.
Trump faces 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
For a legal expense, I got indicted for that.
Is how to chant death to America.
They exist, they feel empowered, they feel emboldened because of the way Joe Biden has handled this situation.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Springtime in St. Louis, and if you hate to paint, do what your neighbor Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peter's did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our